Hi, welcome to the ESSEC Business School for the Global BBA Virtual Open Day. We are going today to explore all the specificities of this bachelor. We are first going to discover this program and how it works. Then we're gonna talk with the career service to know more about internships, apprenticeships, and the masters you can study after the BBA, and of course the careers you can pursue. We are then going to talk about the admission process, how to get into the BBA, what are the different requirements. You will be expert of these questions. Two other important topics, money and visa. How much does it cost to study here at ESSEC? What are the different helps you can get, and how does it work to get a French visa? And to conclude, we will know more about housing. Thanks a lot to be there with us, and today is a really international session because you are more than 90 nationalities with us, so thanks a lot to be there. And for our first interview, I'm very pleased to welcome Corinne Peifert. Hello.
Hi Guillaume.
You are the Director of Studies of the Global BBA, and just next to you is Karina Aswani. Hi.
Hello.
You're a student of this program. You can, of course, ask all your questions in the chat. We will answer them after the quick interview. My first question is for you, Corinne. What is the Global BBA?
Okay, so in a few words, the Global BBA is the undergraduate program of ESSEC Business School. ESSEC is a very well-renowned institution internationally with a triple accreditation. So the BBA is a 4-year program that really trains future professionals, future management, and future managers in the field of business. And it is built on 3 main pillars: academic excellence, that's really the core; learning by doing pedagogy with a lot of professional experience embedded in the program; and international exposure and experience. So that's really in a nutshell.
And where does it take place?
Okay, so it takes place actually on 3 different locations because ESSEC has 3 different campuses internationally. So the main campus is in Cergy, near Paris in France. However, you can also choose to come and study in Singapore or in Morocco, in Rabat.
And is it possible to move from one campus to another during the studies?
Of course, that's actually one of the main features of the program is that you start in one campus, but you have this opportunity, if you want, you don't have to go and study in another location during your studies.
What is the profile of the students? Where do they come from, and what did they do before?
Okay, so profile of students. So basically, because it's an undergraduate program, we recruit students who have just finished their secondary studies, so coming from high school, regardless of the country, of course, and nationality. We have actually a very diverse body of students. As you were mentioning just before, the crowd attending today is over 90 nationalities, and that's quite representative of what we have in the program. We have really strong variety of nationalities with, of course, a lot of French people, but a lot of international students on all campuses. Then in terms of personality, I would say, and background, we recruit students, of course, with a very strong academic record, so that is very important. But also, it's not just grades and being a good student. We're also looking for people who are open-minded, who are willing to understand the world and from a business perspective, and who are aware of the challenges in the world. We are facing many different challenges: climate change, social inequality, etc. So we are really looking for students who are ready to tackle these challenges in the future.
How do you recognize open-minded students?
Oh, that's a good question. How do we recognize open-minded question? Well, of course, we look at the file when students apply, but also we have interviews for the admission. So the interview is really that moment when we can have a good discussion with the student. We're not looking at the academic record at that time. We are really looking at the personality, and that's really interesting exchange in most of our cases.
We'll talk more about admission in another interview. Karina, thanks again to be there with us.
Thank you.
Where do you come from?
I'm from India and Spain.
Okay. And why did you choose to come here at ESSEC for the Global BBA?
I think there's so many reasons, but what comes to mind is the learning by doing approach, which we have at ESSEC. Also the fact that I could combine business and languages, something I'm really passionate about, and the fact that we have so many travel experiences and partner universities in all 5 continents.
In which year are you?
I'm in the third year.
Okay, so you already had the opportunity to travel a bit?
Yes, so I'm actually doing the IBA program. So my last semester I was in Germany in the University of Mannheim, and next semester I'll be in Singapore and then Brazil.
And you just talk a little bit about the learning by doing. How
Yes.
is it concretely at ESSEC? How
Yes.
does it work?
Yes, so I think whether it's a seminar or even like the field experiences, you actually get the chance to learn everything hard skills in class, but also apply those skills in the real life situations. So for instance, last year I did my internship at Vogue. So whatever I learned in school, I was able to apply to real life situations, and I think that's what learning by doing is about.
Corinne, what are the courses of the BBA?
Okay, that's a good question because I suppose not many of you, not all of you know what we study in a Bachelor in Business Administration. So actually the program is a generalist program, and we have students acquire the foundations on all fields related to business. So typically in the first 2 years, the students will have subjects like marketing, economics, finance, management, of course, and then also some more generalist courses that would be towards soft skills, like your attitude and how you can express yourself, communication. We also have courses that are more like tools to be able to actually learn properly the other courses and be implemented once you are doing internships and later in your career. So what we call courses oriented, tool oriented would be courses like Excel, an introduction to programming, coding, the mathematics course and statistics course, which are very helpful, of course, for finance, but also for marketing, because believe it or not, you have a lot of data in marketing. It's not just looking at consumer behavior. So these are the kind of courses that are really common to all the students. And then once you reach the third and the fourth year, you have the opportunity to choose your elective courses. So the first 2 years are really foundation, where all the students acquire the same knowledge, and then you can personalize and customize your program. So in this sense, you can choose more specific topics that really correspond more to your professional project. And this is how you're going to fine-tune your curriculum towards the end of the program. So it could be very different things. I mean, if you're interested in finance, it could be financial markets, corporate finance. If you're interested in marketing, it could be, B2B marketing, e-commerce, luxury brand management. These are all kinds of courses that we have in all different areas that will really give a unique touch to your curriculum.
And what is, Karina, your favorite course?
I think my favorite course would probably be Innovative Merchandising and Italian. I think those are my favorite courses, yes.
What do you like in these two courses?
I think I've had them for 2 weeks. First of all, the teacher is very nice, and the fact that we could visit the stores in real life. So we went to Le Bon Marché in Paris and Galerie Lafayette. So I think actually applying everything, learning by doing again, was very interesting.
Don't hesitate to keep sending us your questions. We will answer them at the end of this interview session. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the pedagogy. How is it? Is it big classes or little groups? How does it work?
Actually, we have a mix of different formats. We are the standard size of the classes is around 50, 60 students, and that is the case for most management courses. But then you would have other courses, typically the language classes, which will be in much fewer numbers because, of course, it's more conducive to learn new languages in the program when you have smaller cohorts. And actually, that's an opportunity for me to share that all students in the BBA will be studying 3 different languages. So that is really a very unique feature of the program. So you all study either English or communication skills. Of course, if you're native English, you're not going to study English, but you're going to have communication skills class in English. And then you're going to study French. If you already speak a little bit of French, you are also going to start another language, which for most students will be a new language. So that is part of what we have in this international exposure pillar of the program. It is really essential that you don't just study some key skills, core skills in management, but you also understand other cultures, because when you have an international career, obviously you need to understand other people, not just in terms of words and expression, but also what's behind the language and the culture. So yeah, that was a short digression, but I think it's important because it's a very very specific feature to the program, and you will not find many programs in the world that offer such a variety of learning in terms of languages. And then what was your question? I forgot. It was...
That was about pedagogy.
Oh yeah, pedagogy. Okay, yeah, and the type of classes and formats that we had. So these are the two typical formats. Then we have also courses that are more on a seminar format, so a bit more intensive, with a lot of workshops inside. So it could be, for example, simulations. We have this business simulation in the first year and the second year, which which allow students to actually put in practice what they've been learning in the first semester. So it's still very early in the program, but they get this simulation of managing a firm, and they're in competition with the other groups of students. So it's quite fun. And the more they progress in their curriculum, the more the simulations are advanced and tackle different aspects that they've been learning through the different courses. So that would be typically the three main formats that we have.
Okay, and try to remember when you arrived here at ESSEC, how did you feel? How were your first steps in the school?
So the first time I arrived, I think, was for the interview. I really liked it. The campus was buzzed, like that's the word I like to use. People were all over, like coming up to you. I remember they were presenting their associations on that day. So, of course, lots of people. We have over 100 associations. So I think that's what really drew my attention. I loved it from the minute I just walked in.
Yeah. And Cergy-Pontoise, how is the city?
The city it's nice. You're not far away from Paris, which is really nice. Cergy as a place is very calm. So you can go for your runs. They have the port area where they have a couple of restaurants. So it's nice to spend time. The campus is really big. And of course, you're not far from Paris.
And what is your favorite place here in the campus?
On campus? I actually love the K-Lab.
Where we are
exactly where we are right now. Usually we have the boards, the interactive boards. So it's really nice for studying, making notes. Very quiet environment. So I really like it.
Corinne, what are the different tracks of this program, and when do the students choose it?
Okay, so that's a very comprehensive question, so I'm going to take a little bit of time to explain. So first, we have tracks that you choose at the moment of admission. So when you apply, you will decide, you will be applying for either studying in Cergy, in Singapore, or in Morocco. So that's already first choice of tracks. Once you are applying to Cergy, you are actually applying either to French track or to English track. Usually for international admissions, it's directly English track, of course. But if for some reason you would like to come and study in the French track, that's possible also. In Morocco, the program is in French, and in Singapore, the program is in English, obviously. So we have this first distinction according to campus and languages. One thing I should mention also, if when you study in Morocco, the program is actually already slightly differently oriented, not from the very start, but starting from second semester, and then it really adds up throughout the curriculum on innovation and digital management. So if you go and study in Morocco, you will have this opportunity to have a more specialized knowledge on anything related to innovation and digital management, with courses in partnership with École Centrale de Casablanca, which is an engineering school. So that's a first distinction. Then we have I would say the regular standard choices for all the students, different tracks depending on what kind of professional experience you will be choosing for your year 3 and 4. Some students will be going for the regular 6-month internship in year 3 or 4, and some students will go for apprenticeship. Apprenticeship, this also requires a little bit of explanation, is a very specific scheme proper to France, where you can get a contract with a company and get paid during 2 years. So not only you get a stipend during those 2 years every month, but also the company will pay for your tuition fees for these 2 years. So it is a specific path. It doesn't, it's not suitable for all the students, so it's really a personal choice. But that's one option against the regular 6-month internship. So that is another choice you do in year 3 and 4. Then the other way of choosing your track and personalizing your curriculum is the kind of exchange program you will be doing in year 3 and 4. Probably we'll discuss this a bit more into details later, but basically all students will go abroad on international partnership programs and will go either for 1 semester or 2 semesters in 1-year exchange program or a double degree program. So depending on the duration of your exchange program, it will also change your track and the way you will be studying. So these are, I would say, the common features for everyone. Then you have specifically oriented tracks with specific content that you can choose basically when you are in the 1st or 2nd year, and that will apply in roughly the 3rd year. So these are very specific. There are 3. The first one is called IBA. It stands for International Business Education Alliance, and actually Karina is a student of IBA. That track is quite exceptional, I must say. It's like a super exchange program where students are selected. It's very selective in terms of academics. It's you need to be a very good student, basically. You will be chosen for a cohort of 40 people, coming from 1/4 coming from ESSEC, 1/4 coming from Mannheim Business School in Germany, another 1/4 coming from University of South Carolina in the US, and the last 1/4 coming from FGV EBAPE in Rio in Brazil. So all these roughly 40 students will travel and study together for 2 years, 1 semester at each institution. That's why it's very unique, because basically they will all go to Mannheim first in the 2nd year, and then they go to America, North America, to the US, and then they go to Singapore at ESSEC, but in Singapore campus. And then they finish with the last semester in Brazil, in Rio. And so the point of that program is really focused on international business, international management, consulting, strategy, so that you can work in MNCs, consulting firms, etc. It's very intense, of course, because you're going to be traveling, every semester, so you need to be strong. But it's a unique experience that really enriches your international exposure. So that's the first track, and probably Karina will say more about her experience so far about it. Second track is what we call responsible international leadership. That is, as the name says, really focused on the consciousness and awareness about the current challenges of responsible leadership in all its dimensions. So, of course, environment, climate change, but also being a responsible leader in terms of managing a team, intercultural awareness, social awareness, etc. All the stakeholders that you could have in a business within the company or outside the company. That program has the students stay in cohort with students from University of South Carolina, again, for 1 year. So the Americans come to ESSEC for 1 year, and then ESSEC students go to the US for 2 semesters, 1 year. And then you can get an internship a visa that allows you to actually work and do your internship directly in the US. So that really helps a lot with working directly in the US after the studies. The third track is also a new one, and it's with the University of Berkeley. So it's basically the same scheme, but it's not an exchange program. So it's just ESSEC students going to take courses at Berkeley, and it's focusing on innovation and entrepreneurship. So students will study 2 semesters in year 3 and 4, and also get the opportunity to have a visa that allows them to do the internship or work up to 12 months directly in the US. So this, I say, obviously, is provided regulations in the US don't change. This is not under our control, so just a small disclaimer, but that is the plan of the program. So these 3 tracks have really specific focus in terms of career perspectives and content of courses. So if you're interested in these, that could be very interesting opportunities for you. Yeah.
No, that's really interesting. And what do you do in your track? How do you live this track?
So the IBA program, so my previous semester was actually in the University of Mannheim. It was very different to ESSEC. I loved it. The university itself is a castle, and I believe it's the second largest castle after Versailles. So it was a beautiful experience. Of course, learning the language was also interesting. And I'm really looking forward to my next semester in Singapore and Brazil. Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about the possibility to study abroad.
Yeah.
So it's an obligation for the students.
Actually, yes. Students have to go and study at one of our partner universities. So don't worry, you will go. It's not an option, it's a requirement for graduation. So this is really also a key feature of the program, because in many programs, you have the possibility to go and study at a partner university, but it's not guaranteed. At ESSEC Global BBA, that opportunity is not only possible, but it's compulsory. So you have to go on exchange program. And because we really believe that it's a life-changing experience for the students, and it's really part of their education if they want to have a very comprehensive career in business. So we have more than 170 partners all over the world. So there's a lot of available choice, different languages of study, mainly English, but not only. We have also a lot of partners who give courses in Spanish and Italian. If you speak Chinese or Japanese, also you could go to one of these countries. So there's really a lot of choice for that exchange program.
And is it possible to do double degrees?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, I think if I'm not mistaken, we have 10 double degrees on different continents. We have a few in Asia, for example, with Shanghai Jiao Tong University. We have one with Beida, Guanghua School of Management, which is a very unique program. It's called the Future Leaders Program. And you actually go there for 2 years. So year 3 and 4 of the BBA, you will be studying in Beijing for this program, mixed with other double degree students from the best BBA students in the world, best partner schools in the world. We also have double degree programs in Keio, in Seoul. We have some in Europe, of course. These are our historical partners in Germany, in Spain. And we have one with FGV again in Rio, which is also one of our strategic partners.
In your opinion, what makes the Global BBA of ESSEC different from the other that exists?
Well, actually, from what we've been saying so far, it's I think you can get hints of what makes it unique. Typically, the strength of the international exposure is, in my opinion, very unique to this program, and that really makes it stand out from the other BBA programs that you could get in other countries. Because you study 3 different languages, you have to go on a partner exchange program. You can go and study, you don't have to, but on one of the other campuses, there is this mix of our own cohort of students among themselves. So you do get to meet students from the other campuses, which is, I think, really, really great. The other important point, in my opinion, for this program is that it is part of ESSEC Business School. And ESSEC Business School is a very strong institution academically and in terms of research. So all the courses are either delivered or coordinated by permanent professors of ESSEC Business School, which are really top-notch in terms of research and pedagogy. And that really infuses directly into the program and into the content of the courses that the students learn. We have permanent professors, but we also have professionals who teach in the program. So this learning by doing pedagogy, you have the academic, really top-notch knowledge that you get, but you also get the real-life experience from those who are actually doing business in real companies right now, who have this passion for teaching and who come and teach in the program. So students get both these insights, and I think that's really a great mix and a great experience. Maybe, Karina, you can add on if you have other things to share from what you've perceived so far.
Yeah, I think everything you said is completely accurate. In fact, our marketing teacher, they're all professionals in their own world. Some of them are consultants, and they're also teaching. So I think it is learning by doing all the way. Yeah.
And I assume you did a lot of projects during your 2 and 3 years here at ESSEC. What was the best project you had to do?
The best project. So I think the best project I had to do, or I am doing right now, is the one I'm doing for innovative merchandising. Maybe I'm biased because I love the subject, but we're getting to go to stores. So I'm auditing Dior for the moment. So I think it's very interesting to see how the windows are displayed and certain details which we don't look at on an everyday basis. How much the suppliers look at them and how much they decorate the window, how much they window dress things. So I think that's very interesting for me to notice how that's done. So I think
what do you want to do after the BBA? Do you already know?
I think I want to specialize in marketing and PR, but I'm still discovering. I think that's the beauty of the Global BBA. The more subjects and more courses you get, the more you realize that, oh, this opportunity is also there. Maybe I want to specialize in that. But I think marketing.
Okay, I think it's time to take the chat questions.
Okay.
We have a lot of questions coming and you can keep on sending them. The first question is from Ziad. Does ESSEC offer an Erasmus year abroad?
Yes, we do, Ziad. So basically, it is part of our scheme for exchange program. Erasmus is a European scheme, so it applies only in those countries that are part of Erasmus in Europe. So if you apply for an exchange program in Europe with a university that is part of Erasmus, you will get the scholarship from the Erasmus scheme that, of course, we handle here at ESSEC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question from Adit. Are the IB requirements, are there IB requirements to get into the Global BBA program?
Yes, if you are studying the IB, so I don't want to be mistaken about the exact number, so I'm not going to give you the figure if you have admissions teams right afterwards, so stay on. But yes, there is a minimum requirement for IB. So depending on when you apply, it might be a conditional offer or not, depending on how early you are with your curriculum in the IB.
And for the viewers like me who don't know, what is IB?
IB, so it's International Baccalaureate. It's the type of secondary education final exam, and that allows you to come and study at university. It's basically internationally recognized. It is independent from the national educational schemes. So it's like equivalent to French baccalaureate, A-levels, which are specific to some countries, but IB is international.
Shaji is asking us, do you have courses available in finance specialization?
Yes, we do. So we do have a certain number of electives in finance, like, M&A, private equity, financial markets, corporate finance, financial analysis. So all these we have. Also, but just keep in mind, this is a bachelor's program, so it is not a bachelor in finance. It is a bachelor in business administration. So you will not be able to study only finance when you come to the BBA, because it is important that you have this whole foundation that covers all the subjects. So you can study finance and get a small specialization, but you will still have more to learn. And this is why also one of the strengths of the BBA program is that it allows you, if you want, to go and study further after the BBA program with a master's program. So if you're really into finance, you can do the internship, you can take the electives in the program, but you can also continue with the master's program, which is really focused on finance at ESSEC or elsewhere. And that will give you a very fine-tuned knowledge in the finance courses, typically.
We have a question from Wilfred from South Africa. What are the requirements if I want to study luxury brand management?
Okay, so luxury brand management, I think basically it's the same logic as for finance. We have a couple of electives in luxury brand management. So to be able to study luxury brand management, you need to get the foundations in businesses. I mean, I'm repeating myself, but it's really true. You need to understand brand management, marketing, consumer behavior, etc. Then you can take this elective. You can do internships. For example, a lot of students for the first year internship, they go and do sales in a luxury boutique. that is a first experience. And typically, maybe my colleague from Career Services will tell you more about this, but typically if you want to have a career in luxury, one of the requirements is that you've actually been in the position of sales. Because if you don't know how your customers react and you've never actually been in the shop itself, then you're missing the point, really. So you need to have that, on-site experience. So having that first-year internship is a really good way to start. Then you can get the electives in the program, and if you really want to focus your career on that, I would recommend doing a master's program in luxury brand management, like we have at ESSEC or elsewhere. That could be one possible path, or you can start your career directly in one of the brands.
Do you think that you're going to do a master program after the BBA?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think after I graduate, I'll probably work for a year and then do my master's. I haven't decided where yet, but probably in the US.
And why do you want to work before doing the master degree?
So I think that before specializing, I would like to take a year off and actually figure out what I want to specialize in. So that's the reason why.
That's cool. We have another question from Ziad. What A-level results are needed for application?
So again, as yet, I don't want to be too specific because this is really in the field of admissions. So my colleagues from admissions will answer that question specifically.
So we'll keep this question for after. What GPA is considered excellent for US curriculum international school?
Okay, this is
That's a good question.
Well, basically also, maybe I should mention more generally on how we look at applications. So, of course, I mentioned several times that we are looking for very good students, and we definitely look at the academic record. But it's not the only criteria. It's really the overall personality, the overall life experience of the students, and the interest and motivation that we consider. So you could have a very good academic file, but a very poor motivation, or nothing that really makes us understand why you want to apply to this program, how it fits you. Then we're not going to take you. So it's really both. And maybe you have academic record that is not in the top 2%, but then you can bring other things to the program, and that can be about a good balance. So you can't be a poor student. That's to be very transparent. That's not going to make it. But it's an overall perspective on your whole application that really counts. So grades are important, but not just grades.
But sometimes when candidates they hear about personality, it can be a little bit complicated. For instance, when you're really shy, can it be a problem to show the personality you have?
Yeah, that's a good question, because also the interview can be very stressful, and especially for students that are still in high school, and usually it's their first time they're interviewing. So the interview is really not meant to put students in a difficult position. We are really trying to put them at ease. The point is to have a conversation, to really bring out the best in each applicant so that we can really see whether there's a fit or not. It's really in everybody's interest, because if there's no fit, then you're not going to be happy in the school. So my advice for this would be really to talk with current students or alumni, if you know some of them, to talk with the ambassadors, to get a feel of what it's like to be a student in the BBA and whether that's going to fit you. Because it's not just the brand, it's not just the reputation. It is an excellent program. Sorry about the mic. It is an excellent program. You can do great things with this program, but it has to fit you. And that part we can assess to some extent, but you also need to be willing to come here and to be sure that you're going to have a very good time here. So that exchange with current students, to me, is very important. Karina, maybe you want to add on this?
Yes, I completely agree. When you come here, you meet people from all over. We have over 90 nationalities, as you started by saying, which is amazing. You're just walking through the corridors and hearing so many languages that it just strikes you, meeting people from all over. And again, the interview is something you shouldn't be afraid about. They just want to get to know you, because other than the files, what can you bring to the table? And that's what I think it is. And I think for me, it went well. So I'm sure it will for everybody else.
And there are shy people in the program. Don't worry, you can get through that gate.
So you don't need a huge personality.
No, of course not. We also want a variety of personality. We don't want everyone to be the same. That's not the point. We want this basic common ground of respect and open-mindedness, but not everybody has to be the same. And also the program will give you confidence throughout the different years and the different experience that you will get. And so you can bloom, basically.
Question from Hanak. What are the main differences between a bachelor program in 4 years versus 3-year programs offered by other business schools?
Okay, that is a good question because the standards for bachelor's program internationally can be very different, and some are in 3 years, some are in 4 years. Typically, basically, you do more in 4 years than you do in 3. I know this is a very obvious response, but it is true. And what makes the difference is usually the 3-year programs do not include professional experience. And that is what makes the difference for the BBA. In the BBA, you will have a first internship at the end of the first year, 3 months, which is for most students the first time they are actually in a professional context for such a duration with a real mission. It includes a 1-month experience, which is a little bit different. It's called the field experience, and it's not meant for you to be in a business position, but more to experience something different in terms of exposure, social diversity, economic diversity. So you're here to help people in a certain setting. And then you have this 6-month internship in year 3 or 4 that are actually part of the program. It is a requirement of the program. So that's why you can't do all this, have the academic foundations in 3 years with all that professional experience. So I think that's the main difference.
Did you hesitate between 4-year programs or 3-year programs?
Yes, I did. I actually applied to the UK, and in the UK it tends to be a 3-year program. And like Ms. Corinne said, I think what makes ESSEC different is the fact that the professional experience, but also the fact that you do an exchange abroad. True. So you're traveling abroad. So I think those 2 things make it longer.
Another question from Swail. Can I do the 4-year program in Cergy and not change campuses, or is it a necessity to change? If yes, what is the minimum abroad period?
Okay, so you don't have to go and study to other campuses if you don't want. That's not a problem. Many students are very eager to go and experience Singapore or Rabat, or both. But some students are also very much interested in staying in Cergy and get involved in associations, for example, or other personal projects that they may have, launch their company or whatever. So no, you don't have to go and study in other campuses. What you do have to do, though, is to go at least for 1 semester exchange program, a bit later in the program, year 3 and 4. So that is compulsory. Yeah.
You already did an exchange.
Yes.
How was it to arrive in a new country, a new campus with new people? Is it something that afraid you, or was it a good experience?
I think I was very excited from the beginning to meet people from different countries, get to know my cohort, because it's part of the idea for me to go. It was also, the castle was beautiful in Mannheim, and the subjects were also very finance oriented, so different to what I was doing in ESSEC. So I loved it. I loved my experience. Yes.
We have other questions. It's a little bit admissions here. Maybe, because it's really... What is the level of mathematics required for the BBA?
Okay, so that's a good question, because we do look at the grades in math for admissions. I can't give you like a unique answer, because you all come from different countries with different educational systems. But we try and make sure that you have at least a minimum level in math before you come to the program. Otherwise, you will be in difficulty. So you need to be at ease with figures. But then, just to be reassuring also about that point, once we have assessed that you can make it, don't worry. You don't need to study before coming to the program. You don't need to do refresher courses in the summer or whatever, because we start from afresh in the year 1, and everybody starts at the same level. So we will bring you to the required level that you need for the finance classes, the economic classes, etc., with the math course and the stats course. How was it for you, Karina, about math?
I think it was good. We started off with mathematics applied to economics in the first year, and then we went to statistics. And I think if you have a good foundation, it's not difficult to catch up. And even if you're finding it a little bit difficult, you have people around you to help you. And the teachers are always they're always there to help you. So, yeah, accessible. So definitely.
Thanks a lot, Corinne and Karina, to have been there with us.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And you can stay with us. We will be back in a few minutes to talk about careers.
Welcome to ESSEC Asia Pacific. This event is for all of you students. We hope that if you're looking for internships and careers in Asia, that you will find this opportunity the next 2 hours helpful for you in getting information in working in Singapore, working in Asia.
It's great that we have so many students. You reinforce the ESSEC alumni community in Singapore. We look forward to see you in our group. So thank you very much.
So let the session begin.
The session was really useful because I got to meet a lot of alumni from ESSEC, and they really helped us with our questions regarding how to find a job, and having also interviews here in Singapore.
Tonight it's a very interesting event. So it's interesting for us to talk about companies that we thought about and companies that we didn't think about, to have an insight from the people who are working there now and who were in our shoes a few years before.
The direct contact with corporate and alumni is very important, I feel, because it really gives you that insider connection which you would need. A lot of times you can just learn, oh, I'm learning about marketing, I'm learning about communications, but how is that really applied in the real world? They tell you how these things are applied, and it's very informative.
It's always been Mazar's aim to attract more talent, and I'm seeing quite a lot of very young, enthusiastic talent here. So we hope to get quite a few interns and maybe some full-time staff.
We are primarily here to identify people that have good project management skills, people that are organized but also very creative and can merge the two. So being here is extremely interesting to understand the bridges we can create between the students and the company.
It's an opportunity to meet diverse sectors, fields and industries, to exchange with the people about the possible careers, what they did previously. They also give you advice about your possible future career and your plans, give you recommendations. So it's really nice to exchange with all of those people.
So I studied most of my high school in France, and I found out through the Concours Sésame in France, and I applied and decided to join the Singapore APAC campus. Coming to Asia was truly different, and it was a whole new world to me, and that's why the APAC campus was my #1 choice. So this program offers many opportunities to travel in many different countries. I think the way ESSEC makes you travel across different countries and be in different campuses and have different classes with students from all over the world really teaches you one key skill, which is adaptability. And today adaptability is really needed because when you join a company, you don't know the environment around you, you don't know your team members. So without adaptability, it will be difficult for you to survive. And therefore, by having this experience while you are a student, it definitely gives you a leg up when you join the working world. Many business schools teach you the same set of classes, accounting, marketing, finance, etc. But what ESSEC is trying to do is to make you a well-rounded manager. So one part of the program is the humanitarian experience, where you get to travel to another country for 3 months and really get out of your comfort zone. So I did my humanitarian experience in Thailand, in a kind of rehab center for people with depression. Reaching the end of my 4th year at ESSEC, I'm now looking for a full-time job, possibly here in Singapore and France. And the Career Services is really providing many services to students to help us find the right opportunity. So be it through networking, training workshops, interview preparation, CV reviews, etc. And the fact that there are not as many students as on the Sergi campus, we really get one-on-one time with career advisors, which is extremely helpful when we are looking for a job. While at ESSEC, we had different internship opportunities to get exposure to the real professional world. Because I've had 2 experiences in marketing and startups, I know that this is really what I love, and that's why I'm looking for a job in a startup as a marketing person. Many students, when they apply to ESSEC, they don't necessarily think of coming on the Singapore campus. It's really a huge opportunity not to miss, for several reasons. The first one is that there is a real family spirit on this campus, and simply the fact of being in Asia, in Singapore, which is a real hub in the region, gives you many more opportunities and many more differentiation opportunities than simply being a French student on the French campus.
My name is Raihan. I am from Indonesia and I'm currently 22 years old. And I am a Global BBA alumni and I'm currently attending Masters in Marketing Management and Digital at ESSEC Asia Pacific. The reason why I chose to come back to ESSEC Asia Pacific, I found out that ESSEC have this Marketing Management and Digital module. What brings the kick for me to apply is the fact that the MMD program really emphasizes on digitalization and how it can impact marketing and brand management, which is what I really love. So far, ESSEC has met my career expectations since I get a couple of great internships from multiple different countries and from MNC as well as startups. So I believe that being in the first batch of the Global BBA program, being in a small cohort allows these interactions with your professors and towards each other. And also ESSEC Global BBA allows me to have a different exchange program as well as different internships. And one of the four-year exchange program that I did was in King's College London. ESSEC has provided this opportunity for me to grow in an entirely different culture. Being in the Global BBA batch, it allows me to mingle around with individuals from many different cultures and nationalities. And I believe that in order to succeed as a community, we need to be I learned how to be assertive and I learned how to be an active listener, to which I learned French and Chinese at the same time. So it allows me to have this personal interaction with those who are able to speak those languages as well. So what's interesting about the Global BBA program is that it requires the candidates and the students to have compulsory internships of 10 months. For me, for example, I did my internship in UOB in Indonesia, as well as a startup in Singapore. So it has been really interesting for me to get the exposure for these different countries as well. I need to express my gratitude for the Career Service as well, because they've been very present in helping me to tailor my resume and to have mock interviews. And an advice for me will be to start early when it comes to your application. How you're going to go about writing your motivation letter. You need to think from the recruiter's perspective on how to impress them. And I believe that once you're in, I think you should enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and study hard and have fun.
Hi, my name is Janice and I'm a second-year Global BBA student here at ESSEC Asia Pacific. I've been really enjoying my stay in Singapore mainly because of three main reasons. The first one because of the international exposure around the campus, second because of the academic excellence that ESSEC provides, and third, for me the most important part is the professional experience here at ESSEC. And that landed me to Beniding. Bennyday is a company that I worked with for my operational internship experience. Bennyday is an online booking platform for beauty and wellness services. Being a startup here in Singapore and working as a marketing intern in Bennyday, I've had the chance to do from PR writing to thinking up with marketing campaigns to executing the marketing campaigns and even allying with different companies. I would like to thank Bennyday and Career Service for this amazing opportunity. I know that I've learned and grown so much personally and professionally.
I saw an advert that I actually worked on. It was on a car company. So that was really nice knowing that what I did.
Hi, welcome back to the social networks of the ESSEC Business School. We are still here at ESSEC for the opening day of the Global BBA. And we are now going to talk about career, internships and apprenticeships with you, Claire Tagorbata. Hi.
Hi, welcome.
You are the Director of Career Services here at ESSEC. And we are also with you, Ria Desai.
Yes.
How do you say it?
Ria Desai.
Ria Desai, a student here. Where are you from?
I'm from Mauritius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we will talk about career, internships. My first question is really easy for you, Claire. What is a career service?
So the career services, it's a team working on 3 campuses. So in here we are 26 people working to help the students to find their internship and had to find their way out to find their job. There are 5 people working in Singapore and there's 1 person working in Rabat. So it's a lot of people working, and we have 3 main activities here in Cergy because we have a lot of people working here, a lot of students, a lot of people. There's one activity around validating and the work experience. That's one part of the team. Another part of the team is to help the students, to help the students, and that's the student support. And student support means facilitating workshops and also having one-to-one appointment with students. And the third activity that we have here on the campus is also a activity of organizing events with companies.
Okay. And do you have, for instance, dedicated events for BBA students?
Yes, we do have dedicated events for BBAs. As a matter of fact, last week we had a event for the students, the BBA students, and we had that was the September 24th. You can follow us on the the social networks. It's been published and is still there. We had a roundtable with important people, and I will come back to that later. And we also had workshops to help the students to sharpen their tools to find an internship or job. So let me introduce the roundtable that we had the last week. We had one entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is important as well for the students, so we always try to invite entrepreneurs. We had 1 entrepreneur, and we had 3 alumni from the BBA program. One of them, and I don't want to. I wrote down. So one of them is Nicolas Olag, is a head of small and medium businesses at Amazon and BBA, so an alumnus from the BBA. Another alumnus was Luis Carslow, and he is a business developer and portfolio support at Partech, which is a global venture capital firm. So that's also a great, and we also add Clara Frejo is an alumna, and she's senior account manager, motion pictures, pay TV, and SVOD at Google, and before that she used to work for Canal+. So really we have we have events for the BBAs, and we also have BBAs, and we have a lot of BBAs who can come back to the school and talk to the BBAs, and that's also something I think important to know when you're choosing a school.
And while we were preparing this interview, you told me something really interesting. Your job is to take students that have just graduated from high school and to put them in the professional market. How do you do that?
So we do that step by step, and that's an important thing. You cannot absorb everything at the same time. So we do that step by step. There is the first step is really to understand what are the sectors, what's out there, and what are the possibilities out there. So learning more about sectors, learning more about jobs. The second step is actually trying out jobs, so internship obviously, trying out, having experience, living the experience of being in a company, and that's the second step. The third step is really to reflect on what happened, what happened during this work experience is very important, because this will give hints and help the students to decide, and new students to decide where you want to go, what you like, what you dislike, what you want to see again, and this helps to build the next step, which is trying to build a career path and a career plan, so that's the next step, and then there are two last steps, which is this. Once you have designed your career path and what you want to do, is really to sharpen all the tools that you need, and try again with another internship, and finally get the job. So to come back to the question, it's really a step-by-step process, and every time we help the students, and we don't deliver everything during the first year. We help them to build their way out.
And how many internships is it possible to do during the BBA?
So basically, there are 3 mandatory internships. The first one is done at the end of the first year. This is an operational internship. It's about 3 months. It's a 3-month internship. It's entry-level position, obviously aligned with what we teach here at school. It has to be aligned with what we teach here at school. The second internship is called field experience, and the field experience is a very special immersion of the students in an NGO. The objective is to have the students meeting with a different environment and coping with different type of people. So that's a very important thing. The third one is done at the end of the 3rd year or the 4th year. It depends. And it's a 6-month internship, and that's called the decisional internship, obviously where the students want to go, or at least try that out. During the course of the studies here, the students can do up to 18 months of internship. This is a possibility. If you add up 3 plus 1 plus 6, we're not at 18, but 18 is a possibility. And 18, students who want to taste something different, to still gain some experience before going out, that's still possible, before graduation.
Ria, you are in your 2nd year of study. Did you already have the chance to do an internship?
Of course. I just validated my first internship. It was of 2 months in Paris here.
What did you do?
So I was an intern in the marketing department of Clinique des Champs-Élysées. So it was a really rich experience.
What is the Clinique des Champs-Élysées for the viewers who don't know?
So it is an aesthetic clinic, and they provide a lot of services for the skin, but also there's the surgery and also non-surgical aspects.
So. And why did you choose to go to this clinic? Do you want to work in the future in the health sector, or was it just like an opportunity for you?
It was an opportunity, but also I'm really much interested in market research for businesses who want to grow or expand in other cities, internationally as well. So this was my chance to really work with them.
And what were your tasks during this internship?
So my tasks were, first of all, I had a supervisor who is a business analyst, Ava Cohen, and she mainly gave me tasks, like I was really free. She told me, okay, I want you to research on Nice, for example. So everything about Nice, the touristic aspect, the market, everything about it. So it's really broad, and she really showed me all the steps and how they narrow down and how they make the decision whether to go forward or not.
That's really interesting. Let's talk about international. Are the students required to do an international internships?
No, they're not, because they have within the program during the course of the studies they can move and go, and they have to go elsewhere to study, so they don't have to do an international internship. In other words, they don't have to go outside France. Although, if they want to do so, we strongly encourage them. It really depends on what they want to do. They have this flexibility going where they can find the best option, the best internship for them that would help them to decide on where, in which field, which sector, where to work later on. So it's very flexible, and we support them whatever decision they take, or you take.
You can send us your question in the chat. We will answer them at the end of this interview. It's also possible to have an apprenticeship experience. How does it work?
Yes, it's possible to have an apprenticeship experience. So maybe first I'll start by defining what is an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is a special contract that we have here in France. This is a contract where the student has different status. He is a student, he is also an employee. And this is very specific about France, the way we have it. So it means that for the students, it's taking the classes here, the exact same classes, the exact same exam, everything is exactly the same, but at the same time, the student do work in the company with specific tasks, and it lasts 24 months. So that's good to gain some experiences. And because, as I said, the status is employee and student, but employee too, it means that the student is paid during the studies, and the studies are the tuition fees are covered by the company as well. So it's a great opportunity for the students to gain experiences and also to work in a company and starting with and growing during 24 months, starting with a simple task and then being at the end of the internship, having responsibilities, being in charge of very important projects. So it's a very it's optional, and it's also a great experience. It's a different experience.
But I think that the students who are doing an apprenticeship need strong qualities, because to do all the classes and then going to work the week or the day after is something not really easy.
Yes, the students, they have to be very careful when they commit to an apprenticeship. First of all, they have to go through a hiring process. So it's already a great experience. But then, as they're doing they're going to work in a company and also have to do everything here. All the academic requirements, it's important to have energy and to be committed and to be able to cope with everything. So.
And do you help students to find not the apprenticeship but the internship?
internship and apprenticeship as well. So apprenticeship is not it's in another department. The institution is in charge of the apprenticeship. So yes, we are here to help the students. So how do we help them the first year, because this is critical. When you have to do that, you were at high school just the year before, and then you have to find an internship. So we have first of all we have workshops to help them, and then for those who need the students who need to come and talk to us, they can come and have one-to-one appointments, and then we're going to help them. And we also have this massive, huge job board on ESSEC, on the platform, on the Career Center platform. And there are a lot of internships there, or jobs for the last year student. And for the apprentice, we have a department, a service dedicated to the apprenticeship, and they go and discuss and talk with the companies and provide the students with opportunities. And again, it's on the job board.
Ria, where did you find the internship you did on the job board? Or?
Well, first of all, it's really, this year, but at the beginning, it was actually really hard, personally, because COVID. And then I think I actually seeked help from the career services, and they really sent me a list of websites where I can look for an internship. And so it was partially through contact and through LinkedIn. And the career service really helps us with our LinkedIn account. And there are specific workshops that they do that, you can attend. It can be online, but it can also be one-to-one, as Claire said.
So, you go to the career service and say, I need help with my profile.
No.
And you will look through the profile and say, you don't have to do that.
And yes, so what we would recommend to the students is they go on the Career Center platform and they take an appointment with us. But we also have resources, tutorials, videos. So we also have resources that you can access through the Career Services platform. And we have workshops embedded in the program. So in other words, if you come and study here, there will be some workshops embedded in your program. But you can also take part in the other workshops. For instance, we have every Thursday, we have flash CV flash reviews. We can do LinkedIn flash reviews as well. So we'll go through we go on to the we check the profile with the student, and we give advice, and we can even help the students to understand how it works. And about the networks, maybe, or maybe this is another question that you're asking.
No, you can talk about the network, because I imagine that there is a lot of people graduated from ESSEC in the professional world, so that helps.
Yes, this is a real asset. This is a big asset that we have here. And plus we have the chance to have a campus manager from my colleague from ESSEC alumni. So we work closely with the ESSEC alumni. So I meet on a regular basis with Stéphanie Josemos, who is in charge with the managing director of the ESSEC alumni. And we organize joint activities for the students. So it's very important that we can contact them. Whenever I need something, I'll talk to Stéphanie and I say, look, we are looking for a specific profile, and she and her team will find a profile, and that's very helpful. So joining ESSEC, it's also joining a community, and we work closely with our alumni, and ESSEC alumni is really helpful, a big asset for us.
Let's talk a little bit about internships. You already did one, but do you already know what you want to do after as internship, or are you thinking about
for an internship?
For the next internship you will have to do you already
so
know
that's
the field you want to
the
do
field work for 1 month, and not yet, no. But I'm really keeping my doors open.
Which thematic, like marketing or something else?
Oh no, field work is about more giving back to the community. It's more to do with working with NGOs, so you can do your own humanitarian project. So that's very different, but also equally important. For example, in the future, if you want to build your business, but also have a really strong foundation, which, it's about giving back to the community, this really allows you to do so.
Let's now talk about what happens after the bachelor. You can keep sending us your questions. They are here, just here, and we will ask them just after this little part. Is it possible to find a job directly after the BBA?
Yes, we have 45% of the students who decide every year to find a job and to start a career at that point. So yes, of course, and most. It's nearly 100% of them are within 6 months they have a job, that's for sure, but 70% of them have already a job after 3 months and even before graduating. So yes, and that's possible. Yeah.
In which fields?
It varies. It can be so we have finance and insurance, around 13% of them, 15% of them. We have, so that's bank insurance. We have people working in digital marketing. We have people working, students, young graduates working in the tourism sector. That's around 9%. We have entrepreneurs as well, 11%, and maybe we can discuss about entrepreneurship and what we do for them here.
We will have a question
about entrepreneurship. That's great, because we're doing so many amazing things here. So yeah, they can work in many consulting firms as well. I forgot consulting firms, so yes.
And what is the average starting salary?
The average starting salary is 42,000 euros a year, and it's including the bonuses, which is a good starting, good salary level to start.
And it's also possible to pursue a master's degree?
Yes, of course, it's possible. So 45% will look for a job because they want to start their career at that point, and the rest of the students are pursuing their studies, and they do a master in different university schools and big names. I have a whole list. So maybe if you want to, if you want some of the names, I brought a list because a few of them can continue here, but we have people going to EDEC, ESCP, IE in Spain, King's College London, London School Economics. So there are many options, and the list is really long. HEC in Montreal. So the world is big, and there are many possibilities out there. And yes, they can continue there.
Do you already know if you want to work just after the BBA, or if you want to continue with a master?
I really want to do a master, but I don't know in which master yet. I'm still exploring my options. So far, marketing and finance is really interesting.
What about entrepreneurship? You talked a little bit about that. Is it possible, for instance, to open its own company when you're a student here?
Yes, of course, and that's really great. Entrepreneurship is something really great, and it's a great experience to live, and you learn so much through that experience. So there are two steps, and so first of all, here at ESSEC we have ESSEC Venture, who helps the students to work through the project. So there's a phase that I would say pre-incubator phases, where my colleague will receive the student and talk with the students and help the students to think about the project, reflect, learn more about the sector, network, this is the first step. And once the student is ready to launch, is ready to launch the company, then we go into it moves from a status pre-incubator to incubator. And here is a full service with access to a lot of consultant house outside the school to help them with whatever capital they need, to help them with lawyers, legal questions, to meet with and to have a step-by-step meetings. I mean, they have on a regular basis meetings to see the different steps of the and we have every year. So as I said earlier, 11% of the students from the BBA launched their company. So this is really great. That's also a great opportunity for the students.
And sometimes the students will try to open a company when they're studying, say, it's complicated because of the courses. I have to go to the class. I have to do a lot of things, so I don't have a lot of time to do my company. Do you help them to organize? Do you help them with the teachers if sometimes they have to go to Las Vegas for the do you help them to have another kind of organization?
Well, we're very supportive, and once the student is in this incubator, as this status, move from pre-incubator to incubator with ESSEC Venture, then we are very helpful. And for instance, they can even do their internship, the 6-month internship. Of course, there are some rules to follow. We're going to meet there are deadlines to meet, there are things to do, but this is another option. So the point is whether you want to work in a company or you want to launch your company, we are here, not only the career services, but we're here to help to support the student in their choices. But at the same time, they have to meet the academic requirement to obtain the diploma. But we're here to support them.
I think it's time to move to the chat questions. You can keep on sending them. First question, can you name a few organizations where students can intern at the end of the first year?
Basically, they can go to a bank, like BNP. We have a lot of students going to BNP Paribas. So basically, there's no limit. I mean, they
can go everywhere.
They can go everywhere as long as they meet the requirements. And the requirements are, it should be the task, the description of the internship, and the task given to the students should meet and be aligned with what they've been given during the first year of their studies here. And it could be in marketing. I mean, it's very large. So basically, there's no. Of course, if you ask to go to a work as a butcher, then of course we're not going to validate it. But it's basically everywhere.
Link it to the business.
It has to be linked to the business, linked to the aligned with the program and the academic requirements. So yes, there is a structure, but it's widely open.
Did you have the opportunity to see a surgery at the Clinique des Champs-Élysées or not?
No, I was not in contact with patients, but I did see a few patients outside of their surgery, and that was...
Maybe you saw some videos or pictures?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Videos, pictures, and we even I made some brochures as well, so yeah.
A question from Shaji. Do all students get internship? What happens if one doesn't get?
It doesn't happen. I mean, it's not possible not to obtain an internship. So there's always a solution. Sometimes, yes, some students might struggle a bit more, but as long as they come, it doesn't happen. Basically, if they have problems, they can either talk to the program, like Corinne that you talked to earlier. They come to visit us. They can take appointments. It's online on the carousel. So it doesn't happen. It cannot happen. I don't There's no example.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's more about, you know, the real life. Of course, as soon as you graduate ESSEC, you will send your CV to multiple companies, and the reality is that maybe sometimes you don't get accepted to all of them. So you really have, it's really about this experience, you know. Yeah.
Did you send a lot of CVs to find your first internship?
I contacted a lot of ESSEC alumni who actually replied back and directed me to their HR, and they actually offered me. Yeah, I did. It's really hard at some point because of course, I told you, Corona. Yeah, and yeah.
Maybe the company were closed at this time. So.
Exactly, and there was a lot of télétravail, so working online, and yeah, but
that's something new maybe that happened this year for the students. They learn to do the home office in internship.
Yeah, because basically by law it's forbidden to do an internship remotely, in other words, at home. By law and the regulation about internship doesn't allow that. But of course, this year, and that's been discussed with the government, and it's been allowed this year, so they can still do their internship. The students can still do their internship remotely, but that's just because of the COVID-19. Next year, hopefully, once we're all, you know, safe, then we will come back to the
normal,
the regular internship, which is in the company, because the experience should be in the company.
Did you give them some tips, like to pursue an internship at home, like what you have to do to show that you're working, maybe sending an email each morning? You receive something like that?
Of course, yes. So obviously there were guidelines. If, for example, I sent an email to Claire, actually, I was like, oh, well, my supervisor is telling me to do this, and obviously she replied back saying that, okay, this is what you can do, and this is how to do this. So it's really about guiding the student to meet their goal.
A question from Harry. Are international students required to speak a proficient level of French in order to work in companies in France during or after the BBA program?
It really depends on the sector and the type of jobs that you want. You can do an internship if you're not fluent in French, if French is not required. Obviously, if you want to work in companies where there's a lot of writing, you have to write reports in French, then of course you have to be fluent. So it really depends, and so therefore my guidance and how I see it is that look for a job where you can actually do it and make the best out of it. So if you want to work in a consulting firm in France and you don't speak a word of French, then obviously it's not attainable, it's not realistic. But you can try to do it outside France or in your own country. So it really depends on your objectives and your mean and how you're going to do it.
And is it possible to do all the internships abroad?
Yeah, there is no, as I said, it's not an obligation, but it's not mandatory. But yes, if you want to do it, if you want to do your internship outside France, yes, of course you can do it, and we support you with your choices.
Do I still need to get an internship as a reference if I'm running my own luxury brand? Wilfred.
Okay, so it's a very specific question, and I just cannot answer that question because we need to look at your situation very carefully, because it's something that we have to look at very carefully.
It depends maybe on the type of company you are running. Because it depends. If it's a small brand and you just have T-shirt and you send T-shirt to people and it's not like a professional reference.
You're right. It really depends. So I just cannot answer this question because it's very specific, and we have to look closely at the. But you can always find an internship in. I mean, let's say that you're running a small company and you have the time to follow your studies here, and you're studying here. That's great. But maybe you want to do an internship in another company to learn something which is different from what you're already doing. So, it's something that we really have to look at carefully. And then there's one thing that we don't do is that we don't play with the academic requirement. So we will look at the file very carefully. But if, for some reasons it's possible, then there's no way we're going to support it. Yeah, there's no way.
Kunal asked, when you're working as an intern, are there any studies provided by the school to the intern? Like I think the question is, when you're doing an internship, do you have to take classes during the internship?
No. There are periods where you are at school and periods where you are doing your internship, which is very different from the apprenticeship that I was mentioning earlier. So when you are doing your internship, you don't have classes, but you can still borrow books from the library, online resources.
Is the apprenticeship only possible for French students, French nationals, or international students? Can they do it as well?
Yes, again, it's very specific. We have to look at the file, but it's open to international students. Yes.
Okay. That's an interesting question for what happens after the BBA. Can you get a job as a non-French EU citizen after graduating?
Again, it depends. It's a market. You have to look. Finding a job, it's being on a marketplace. If you have specific qualifications, specific skills, specific qualities that a company wants, then it's possible. But you have to be different. You have to have something different from the other candidates. So yes, it is possible, but you have to be very careful on how you target the companies. But yes, of course, it's possible.
Does the school, it's a lot of questions for you, does the school help for housing during the internships?
So if the internship is in Paris, then you can continue and live here. We have housing here for the students, so you can stay even if you're doing your internship in Paris, for instance. Obviously, yes, you can.
But if you're working in
if you're going, but then we always, when you go to a specific place, then the chance is that there are already students that went there, and the connections. I mean, they will share information, and the community here is very strong. So the students, they help each other a lot. So we're not doing this. We're not finding housing for the students, but the community is here and help a lot.
Especially for example, the last promo, like before me, I had a lot of questions for them, and they're always available. Like
you can go to them.
You can go to them, and obviously there are different. Even at school, if you know that person is in one class higher than you, then obviously you can go and ask them about their experience and what they did.
And in the future, you want to do all your internships here in France, or do you want to
I want to move around, yeah. It's more about learning about the working culture of different countries, so that I choose one where I'm more comfortable in.
Where would you like to go?
Oh, I've had experience only in France and Mauritius, but I would like to try London.
London?
Yeah.
Why London?
First of all, I have family there.
Okay, so that helps for housing, for
of course. But also the working culture is very different.
I think we still have questions. After the internship, do we have to prepare a report related to the mission, and is it marked and part of the requirements to get the diploma?
Yes.
I see you.
Yes, definitely. Very important.
How many pages was your report?
Well, no, it's not. For me, I mean, for this year, it was mostly like a questionnaire.
Okay.
So you meet with your supervisor for a debriefing session, and they actually grade you, like from 1 to 5. How were you? Like, how are your aptitudes? Blah 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 blah. But it's very important to have this, because at the end of when you're graduating, the career services will do a complete file on you and accumulate all the reports.
For the other internships, you have to write something, to do reports, to do like thesis,
Yes.
for instance?
Yeah, so it's for instance, for the field
work.
internship next year, then we are having meetings, and they have to in groups share experiences, and this is part of the internship and the validation of the internship. So for each internship there is something to do, and either a grade from the company or a reflecting work to do here at school with other students. For instance, next year you have this reflection and discussion with others.
And maybe our last question, is the BBA something that European recruiters are looking for?
Yes, yes, of course, the best, 45% of the students find a work right after, so of course, yes, it is. And other students decide to continue and to pursue their studies, but yes, of course, it's okay. You can have a bachelor, you can have a bachelor plus a master. That's probably because in the States it's a bit different. So, but yes, it's possible.
Okay, thanks a lot, Claire and Ria, for all this information. And we will be back in a few minutes to talk about the admission process. See you.
Okay, no, I'm not accepted. I'm just shortlisted, but that's the first step. Guten Tag. I'm from Switzerland.
Hello, I'm from the United States and India.
Hallo, ich bin Georg und ich komme aus Deutschland.
Γεια σας, κατάγαμε από την Κύπρο. So the good thing about ESSEC is that everything happens online, so you can apply online. You just have to scan the documents and then upload them on the site. So it's really simple, it's really easy, so you don't have to worry about that.
I'd say that having extracurriculars, at least a few, is important. I mean, if you have great grades, that's one thing, but I feel like being a real person who's done things and has passion is really important for being a student at this school.
I think the motivation letter is really important because you have to show them why you are a good candidate and why you are motivated to study at ESSEC.
I think the most important part about an application is just being yourself and putting yourself on paper. It's like who you feel you are should be reflected on the paper that you submit to ESSEC.
Any teacher that knows you well as a person, not just as a student, is probably a great person to get a recommendation letter from, or maybe even a coach for a sports team.
Ask the teachers that knew me well, personally, but that also observed me during class and could really assess my skills.
I personally went to one of my favorite teachers who knew me well as a person, because then they could, I feel, more accurately describe who I am.
Tips I would have to anyone prepare for the interview would be connect to Skype 10 minutes or 15 minutes prior to the interview so you know everything's working fine.
Going into the interview, first of all, be well dressed and like prepare the area that you're going to have the interview as well. I feel like that should be one of the most important things. And then before going to the interview, review your CV that you submitted because they will ask you directly questions about that as well as like personal interests.
To prepare for the Skype interview, they could actually think about potential questions that the interviewers might ask them. And then I just think that it's very important to not stress. Don't be stressed during the interview. Just be natural. And sometimes they might ask you some challenging questions, but just take your time to answer and be natural and always remember that no one is you and that is your power.
I would say definitely still try apply because it's more than just about grades in ESSEC, I believe. I think it's more as well including like what type of person you are, how expressive you are and what you do outside of class as well, just as much as your grades.
I definitely think that these students should apply even if they don't have excellent grades because one very important thing is also the potential that they see in students. So even if you do not have excellent grades, maybe you still have the potential to actually be a really, really good student at ESSEC. So I think you should definitely give it a try and just try to do as well as possible in other aspects such as the motivation letter, your essay and the interview, because if they see potential in you during the interview, you might still get accepted.
Welcome to ESSEC.
Willkommen an ESSEC.
Willkommen zum ESSEC.
Καλωσορίσατε στο ESSEC.
Ensoleillé.
Ambiance.
Soleil.
Mziane.
C'est le feu, on peut se balader partout, c'est génial. Après, le premier cours de self-défense, je dirais, parce qu'on était tous épuisés, on était presque euphoriques tellement on était fatigués.
Le voyage à Grenade et Tanger.
Aujourd'hui, 18 décembre, soleil.
Je pense que c'est quand on est arrivé à Sidi et qu'on a découvert notre appartement et le campus de Rabat.
Pour moi, c'était le trek au début du semestre.
Le voyage à Grenade.
Le trek de Monica, c'était exceptionnel.
Intense.
Surprenant.
Inoubliable.
Épuisant.
Innovant.
Exceptionnel.
Entrepreneuriat, avec Fodji.
Thierry.
Management stratégique.
Entrepreneuriat.
Entrepreneuriat avec Fodji, on a beaucoup appris, très terrain, c'était bien.
Entrepreneuriat.
Management stratégique.
Il y a des moutons à côté du campus. Quand t'es bronzé comme moi, tout le monde pense que tu parles d'Arija.
Ça klaxonne de partout.
Tu peux prendre un taxi collectif où il y a 5 places, mais être vite à l'intérieur.
Beaucoup de chats.
On peut monter à 7 dans un taxi.
Que tu négocies tout, même le pain.
Faut faire sur les chiens, faut attraper des cailloux.
Inch'Allah.
Oui.
Et madrasa.
Madarija Flouz.
Salam.
Khoub.
Wa malikoum.
Wahab. Ça veut dire un.
Vivre au soleil, vivre en retard, très enrichissant culturellement.
Très sécurisant, une bonne ambiance et on se sent très à l'aise.
C'est génial, tu peux sortir où tu veux, comme tu veux, et il n'y a aucun problème. Machimouchki.
Pas très différent de la vie parisienne, mis à part sur l'organisation, la ponctualité, mais sinon parfait.
Bah oui, c'est pas la première fois que je viens, c'est la deuxième fois, donc oui, je le recommanderais.
Bien sûr.
Oui, c'est sûr.
Bien sûr, ouais.
Oui, c'est sûr.
Évidemment.
Super cadre et super ambiance.
Ah ouais, carrément, mais pas que le campus, hein. Aussi Rabat, aussi Prestégia, tout ce qui va avec.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Raphaël, et j'ai 18 ans et je viens de République démocratique du Congo.
Hola, soy Isabella y soy de Venezuela.
Salam, man Azerbaijania.
Ciao, sono Martina e vengo da Milano, Italia.
ESSEC community is one of the most multicultural ones I've ever found, and they presented as the school as so. And actually, I found a lot of diversity and a lot of people from every part of the world. I think that diversity and multiculturality generally is one of the most positive things when studying abroad, because you feel like you're not the only stranger, as we can say so, and it's so important to share cultural behaviors and different views that are influenced by our different backgrounds.
C'est très enrichissant dans la mesure où ils savent des choses que je ne sais pas, je sais des choses qu'ils ne savent pas, et parler avec eux, c'est un peu une façon de voyager sans trop bouger. À l'ESSEC, on propose, il y a beaucoup de langues, il y a de l'italien, il y a du russe, il y a du français pour ceux qui ne parlent pas français, il y a du chinois, il y a du japonais, il y a de l'espagnol, il y a du portugais.
I chose German. I can say Ich bin Isabella, ich liebe l'ESSEC.
Moi j'ai pris les japonais, parce que j'adore le japonais, cette culture m'intéresse beaucoup. Umini iku, ce qui veut dire je vais à la mer.
As third language, I take Chinese. 你好，我叫 Martina.
I decided to pick Spanish. Hola, me llamo Fazuli. Tengo 18 años.
I have friends from Morocco,
United States,
France,
Allemagne,
Botswana,
Chine,
Canada,
España,
South Korea,
Venezuela,
Russie,
Guatemala. I have met a lot of people from the African continent, and I have never in my life met people from there. What I learned from them is, like, it's impressive for me how they're such a happy people and how they handle their things. Because in a way I can relate a lot to them, and that's a way that I feel like I feel in my home. I can feel related. I'm not like that distant from my home because I have these people here who I relate, and it's my new home, literally, it's my new family. So that's the way that we're not alone, because we're here and we learn from each other, and yeah, that's the most important thing, you're not alone.
One of the most important, let's say, contrast or differences.
Welcome back for the virtual open day of the Global BBA. We are now going to explore the admission process and the different steps you have to follow with you, Virginie Gravelaine. Hi.
Hi.
You are the head of admission for the Global BBA, we can say it like that.
Yes, you can. Yes.
And we are with Clémentine Grosso. Hi.
Hello.
You are a student here in first year.
Yes.
So the process of admission is really new and fresh in your mind.
Yes.
You can keep on sending us all your questions in the chat. We will answer them at the end of this interview. My first question is for you, Virginie Gravelaine. How can the student get information about the admission process?
All right, so before submitting the application, we recommend candidates to visit our website and admission webpage, to be more precise, to get information about the application process and the calendar of application deadlines, which is very important. For any question regarding the application, they can also contact us directly on the application platform by using Contact Us. So it's very important to get all the information before starting the application.
Okay, so and we will give all the information. What are the admission requirements for international students?
Okay, so Global BBA international admissions are open to candidates in their last or final high school diploma, or with a high school diploma if already graduated. equivalent but different from French baccalaureate. If the candidates have both diploma, they will have to choose either Concours Sésame or the international admissions.
And they have also an English test.
Yes,
because,
true.
The track for international students,
yeah.
It can be in French, but for international students, it's mainly in English.
The test, the track. Oh, the track is if you apply. For the international admission, the track is in English. Okay. So the candidate will have to provide an English test. It's important to prepare the test before and to be ready for the application. And we accept different English tests, TOEIC test, for instance, TOEFL, IBT, IELTS, and Cambridge test. The candidates can find the minimum score we require, and if the candidate doesn't meet these requirements, he cannot apply. So we know that in some countries, the English test centers are closed, so candidates can also submit the application with an ITB special home edition or a TOEFL ITP for Chinese candidates, for instance. But the test is very important. Test whether for English native speakers or for candidates who have been studying in fully in English for the last 2 years.
Okay.
So if the candidate meets these requirements, then he can proceed with his application.
So that is the first step.
Yeah, the first step is to get information about the admission process and the calendar of application deadlines. It's very important to know that, and then to make sure that you have the requirements before starting the application.
In your case, Clémentine, first question, where are you from?
I'm from America, the United States.
Okay, so you didn't have to pass the test?
No, I studied entirely in an English-speaking school, so...
That was easy for you. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the different steps to apply. How can the students apply?
Okay, so the first thing to do, one can start the application by creating an account, login and password, which is quite easy. And candidates will be asked to choose the campus they want to apply, and it's very important because you can't change the campus after submitting.
So
it's very important to be sure about that before submitting the application. They will have to fill out the application, and I would like to insist on the fact that the application is very important. So they will have to fill out the application with care and provided documents, required documents. These documents must be in English, especially for Singapore campus, or they can also be in French. They will have to upload requirement documents such as an official stamped and signed academic transcripts of the last 3 years of high school, an enrollment certificate, a test score, CV, passport, and 2 academic reference letters. And I'm going to speak about that because it's very important to point out that the academic reference letters are very important. So I'm going to give some tips for the candidates. The first one is when they start the application, the online application, we recommend the candidates to enter the details of their referees. It's very important for the referees to be informed very early that they will have to fill out a reference letter online. So we have to give them time for that. And so it's the first thing to do when you start your application. Enter the details about the 2 referees. So we will be able to send them an automatic email with the reference letter to be filled out online and before the deadline. So the choice of the referees are is very important as well. We recommend candidates to choose professors or academic staff who know them best. And I want to insist on the fact that relatives are not suitable referees. It's very important because sometimes we have uncles or aunts to recommend the candidates, I'm sure.
And it's really important in the application form, the reference letters?
Yeah, it's very, very important because the referees are going to give us a lot of information on the candidate profile, for instance. We're going to ask them to evaluate, in fact, the candidate's ability, intellectual abilities, analytic abilities, creativity, maturity, determination to pursue an objective, for instance, weaknesses, strengths, ability in oral and written expressions. So a lot of information about the candidates.
Who did you choose as referees in your admission program?
So I went with two teachers that I knew really well. I picked first my history teacher because I was part of the club that he handled, the National Honor Society, and he saw me do my interview, and I tried really hard, and we knew each other pretty well because I was a new student back when I was a junior year. So that teacher, he really knew me well, and I think he filled it out well. And my other teacher was my calculus teacher, who I had for 2 years. And he also knew me quite well. We would often crack jokes about France in class. And so I think he knew who I was as a person a lot more than other teachers.
And there is also in the application form something really important. You told me that before, and I think you are going to tell us. Now it's the essays.
Yeah,
what is it about?
Yeah, we encourage the candidates to write essay and provide information a lot, as much as they can. So we will ask them to write a full personal statement about themselves, honest essay to express their interest, goals, values, and their motivation. But it must be a personal. So it's very important for the application form because, as maybe I have already said it, but we take into account all the information in the application, not only the academic results, but also the essay, the essays, the reference letters, everything counts. So it's very important.
Is it a good idea in this essays to be a little bit original, to try something?
Of course.
Fun? You prefer something like that? Or
well, actually, it's it must be a personal statement. It has to be sincere and to be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Be just yourself, and it's very important.
But sometimes when we have to feel something like that, we want to stay conventional, to say, hi, I'm a really interested student, I like to study, I like to read books, I like to...
Yeah, I understand that. But the first essay, we ask the student to tell us about one of his experiences which that illustrate the value he believed in. So it must be very personal. Can't be something different than personal. Okay, and the second essay, we ask students, candidates, to express their motivation for applying to the Global BBA program. Sorry, I'm going to finish about that. And they can also give us details on their social and cultural activities, demonstrating skills, aptitudes, commitments, for instance. It's very important as well.
For instance, if I am a student, I have a TikTok account with 100,000 followers. I can say it. I have a community. I've done some TikTok. That could be something.
Yes, you have to mention it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you put in your essay? First question, how long did it take to you to write this essay? Because I assume it's not something that you have to do like, okay, and it's finished.
Oh, okay. So this essay was the one I also used for my other applications, but it was really important I made it between 500 and 1,000 words. I don't remember exactly the amount, but I think it was my third or fourth draft that I decided would be the best one. And I wrote in a story form to really kind of illustrate my personality a bit more. I think if you write in like a detached kind of way, it doesn't show your personal values as much as like a first-person story does. It was one of the tips my English teacher had given me for college essays, since they're a huge deal in America. And I focused on the value for me. I focused on taking your chances and ambition. When an opportunity comes to you, then you take it. So I wrote about my experience about being chosen for hosting a massive district-wide event for my entire school district. And I had been given that opportunity and I took it. And so I wrote it in a sort of like film way, as in I started with the end and then I flashbacked and then I went back to the end to really show the importance.
When you receive an essay like that, you know that
We are
the
just
person
happy.
creates.
Because we have to keep in mind that people are going to read the essay, so you have to be very, I don't know how to say that, but give the,
catchy.
It's very important to catch the attention of the person who is going to read the essay.
You also have tips for the different runs of the application?
Yes, sometimes we have questions from the candidates and telling us, well, I think it's easier to apply to round 4, which is not true. We use the same criteria, whatever the rounds. So you just have to be prepared for the application deadline, and it is important that to apply when you are ready. It's not important. The round is just to respect the deadlines, but you just have to be ready. And then what I can say is not wait until the last minute to apply, because we had also a team in the admission department who is going to check the files and be in contact with the candidates all along the process to help him to complete his file, for instance, or to be in contact with the candidates. So it's very important to apply, but a bit before the deadline and don't wait the last minute.
And you don't have to do everything the same time. You can begin one day and today.
Sure. Just submit when you are ready. And it's very important because when you submit, you can go back to your application. So you can change, you can update the form, you can change the documents. So it's very important to submit when you are ready.
Okay. So the first step is this online admission, this online procedure, and then what happens?
There is one step before that, is that the application fee has to be paid. Okay. Otherwise, the file is incomplete. So until the application fee is received. So it's the last step.
Okay.
In fact, after that, we're going to check the files, and then we will evaluate the files. So we have agreed, I would say, for the evaluation, and then we organize a shortlisted committee to decide about the interviews. To declare candidates shortlisted for the interview.
And how does the students know if there are shortlists?
The results are published on the application profile, candidates profile, so it's very easy, and we always ask the candidates to check regularly their emails.
Okay.
If they go back on their platform, they will have the results.
And then they have the interview. What shall they expect from this interview?
Well, the interview will be online. carried out in English with two jury members. It lasts around 30 minutes. The members of the jury are teachers from the Global BBA program, so they interact with students from the Global BBA program regularly, so they know the students, in fact, or it can also be academic staff. The purpose of the interview is to assess the motivation, the candidate's motivation for pursuing the Global BBA program. Is interpersonal skills, to evaluate his interpersonal skills, social abilities, autonomy, maturity, motivation, international openness. So it's important to be prepared as well for the interview.
How did you prepare for the interview?
I had my dad call me from his office through FaceTime and interview me like he was interviewing new candidates for his own work. It was a great exercise because we had looked up the night before example questions, especially of the tricky ones, because sometimes they ask questions like, what would you do if you had a wand that could fix anything? And you don't know what to answer to that. So we got to practice some of those questions, all the while answering the regular questions. So I was really nervous the actual day of the interview, but I think it really helped. And yes, I did kick my parents out of my house for the interview, but I think overall I think it went well, and
yes, because you're here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here today.
And then did you have some tricky questions during your real interview?
Yes, I did. Actually, the example I gave was exactly that. If I could fix one thing, one type of thing in the world, what would it be?
And what would it be?
I decided to pick injustice because it was during the time where there was a lot of college scandals where rich people, especially in the US, it was like people could bribe their way in, and I think that's very unjust. And then also all the testing and the fees and everything. So I thought that injustice is something that I just can't stand for.
Okay, that's a good answer. Don't take all this answer because we notice that something happens. How does the students get the admission results?
Well, then the admission committee will meet and the decision will be published on the candidate's profile, so it will be informed like that. And then if you have the chance to be admitted, you must confirm your seat, your place in the program by paying the deposit, and it's the last step of the admission process. An admission letter for visa procedure will be also provided online on the application profile, and then our colleagues from the registrar will contact the candidates to proceed with the enrollment in the ESSEC Business School.
And we will see that just after this interview, because we will have Evelyn Likel from the registrar office. What would be your advice for the candidates that are watching us? What would you say to them that you would have wanted people saying to you when you were doing the application?
Honestly, it's mostly go for it. Because it's just, as said before, it's not about all academics. It's really about what you are, what you love, what you want to do, what you want to achieve. It's so much. It's all of that. It's you as a person. So if you're hesitating, honestly, go for it and start early. I applied round 1 and I started late August, and I spent like 3 weeks just doing everything calmly, one by one. And I think that's the most important thing.
Is there like tips? Is it better to take the first round, the second round, the third one? Because I think that it's something a student can ask themselves.
Yeah, as I said, it's not easier to be admitted in round 1 than in round 4, for instance. But as I said, you have to be ready, and the most important is to have complete applications. It's very important for that. Take time, and when you are ready, submit. Obviously, we have to keep in mind also that there's a lot of competition. We had a lot of application files, so we have to select the good the top candidates. So the competition is very intensive, I would say. But as Clémentine said, go for it. Okay, and be yourself. Yeah.
We are now going to take the chat question. You can keep on posting them. The first question, what is the admission acceptance rates?
Oh.
If you have it, if you don't have it.
Acceptance rates, it means...
the percentage of candidates that are accepted, I think, at the
Right, I can just give one figure, but as I said, this year we had, for Cergy campus, for instance, 486 applications evaluated, and we admitted 137. 137. So, as I said, the competition is very intense. So you have to be a good candidate, an excellent candidate. But yes, we are very selective as well. But
we have question about score. I don't know all these terms. What is the minimum IB total score? Do you have this information?
IB, the minimum IB, International Baccalaureate, I would say under 30, rather 26. No.
Okay.
So what we can say is very important because we have an evaluation grid, and you tend to get points. If you are an average candidate, you have certain points, and if you become good and better, you get points.
Okay.
That's. I think I prefer to say that than saying that we have a minimum.
Okay. How do I prove I speak fluent English and don't need the exam in the language proficiency part of the application?
As we said, if you have been studying fully in English for the last 2 years, you have to prove it, maybe by the school can give a certificate or things like that. I don't know if it's the answer, but...
That's interesting. If I grade this kind of average, but I've built my own business since age 17, do I stand a good chance getting admitted to ESSEC BBA?
I mean, it's all relative, but that is something pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because what is the ponderation between quantity and quality? Because an average student, he has to prove that he has a lot of quality, that he has something else.
Academic performance as well. We can have average students or candidates who have been progress in their academic results, for instance. What can I say?
So there is no it's something like that you feel with the
Yeah, it's academic results is one thing, you know, and if we see that the candidates make a lot of progress, it can be a good point as well. If a candidate is excellent, top candidate, okay, but if an average candidate has made progress in his results, it's a very good point as well, because it means that he is a hard worker. You see what I mean? So it's important to, as Clémentine said, do not hesitate to apply.
And you
honestly, yeah.
Do we see what referees write about us, ask Julien?
No.
Okay.
No.
And sometimes do referees write something like bad or is saying...
It happens.
It happens?
Yeah. It happens, yeah.
So
yeah,
you
I have to be
really
honest,
careful,
it happens. But the reference letters are confidential, so the candidate can't see them. That's the reason why I said it's very important to choose the good reference that who know the candidates. It's very, very important to choose the good referees. But it happens that some referees write bad things about candidates, but it's very rare.
So be careful and don't be bad.
Yeah.
If I am transferring from another university with 48 EC, do you still look at my high school grades? Which one is more important to you, university grades or my A-level grades?
I would say university grades, but can send both. Okay. Well, you can actually, if they have questions, as I said, they can contact us directly on the application platform. They don't have to fill the application. They can also send us emails and things like that if they have questions, specific questions about the academic.
Right. Yeah. But sometimes we can fear a little bit sending a question through contact form, because we can think like, okay, but if I'm asking questions and then think my questions are not really clever,
no.
There is no judgment on the question asked.
No, honestly, no. Okay. No. It's better to ask and to be sure. Okay, there will be no consequences on the application of the candidate's application after that. Oh no, as I said at the beginning, for any question regarding the application, do not hesitate to contact us. It's better to make sure that you have the good information before starting, and there is no stupid question, I would say. So it's important.
Did you send some questions?
I did.
What were your questions?
I think it was mostly when I had been admitted, I had asked questions to one of the ambassadors about when does school start, what is welcome week, things like that. And I think I asked questions about the transcript and the certification of enrollment. That I had trouble with that, and I was like, okay, I'll just ask, and they responded really fast, and I figured it out. Yeah.
So you don't have to hesitate asking questions, and you can ask us questions today, and it's really anonymous. I'm not touching your admission after that. Maybe there is one question coming. Okay, I think it's a technical question, but I will ask you if...
if I can answer.
That's interesting. If someone is rejected, that's not technical at all, does he get any type of feedback?
You can ask the reason why. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
That's interesting. Is there no exact question, like 30% interview, 30% academic performance, 20% essay, and 20% extracurricular when evaluating a student, or is there a specific ratio for the evaluation?
It's all-encompassing.
Yeah.
There is not like a magical mathematical formula to check the candidate application.
We have some on the evaluation grid. We give some points according to the academic results, the essay. So there is some percentage as well. For instance, for the academic results and academic performance.
Okay.
Yes, we have.
But it's not all for the application.
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, but we have some secrets about the application. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Technical question: why step 7, secure your seat on the website, does not apply for Singapore campus?
What are
there is a step 7, secure your seats on the website, and it does not apply for Singapore campus. Do you have information about that? Or maybe it's a question you can write by email, I think. For Lola, you can write an email, contact us on the admission platform, and you will have an answer. Maybe you will have an answer. Maybe the last question: if I'm rejected in round 1, can I apply for round 3?
No, you can't. And there is only one application per year.
Okay.
That's the reason why I said you have to be ready and prepared before submitting. But if you are not admitted in round 1, you can apply in round 2, 3, or 4. It's only one application per year.
Thanks a lot, Virginie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clementine, for having been with us today. And in a few minutes, we are going to talk about fees, about visa, about the what happens after
with the
the
register
admission.
office. Yeah.
See you soon.
Magandang araw, ako si Rina Ampagaw. I'm 19, I'm from the Philippines, specifically in Bulacan. It's one of the provinces there.
你好，我叫 Zack， 我是新加坡人。Over here at ESSEC, I'm the Vice President of the Student Council.
Buenos días, me llamo Andrei, soy uruguayo, mais j'ai aussi fait la plupart de mes études en France. And I'm now at ESSEC Business School campus in Singapore.
Hai, nama saya Randy. Saya berasal dari Surabaya, Indonesia. And the reason I chose ESSEC is because of its focus on practicality.
Okay, xin chào, mình là Nguyễn Anh Kiệt, mình 19 tuổi, mình đang là học sinh của ESSEC Business School cơ sở Singapore.
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम सना है, मैं दिल्ली में रहती हूँ और मैं इंडिया से आई हूँ. I chose ESSEC because it offers a world-class education with learning by doing approach.
Вітаю, мене звати Анастасія, я з України, з Києва.
The reason why I'm here today is because I was first looking for an international campus, providing me with the opportunity to discover an international academic experience.
Here in ESSEC, I'll be spending 9 months across my 4 years journey of my academic degree. Doing an internship can be done here or any campus that you choose. I realized how important internship is because it actually taught me the things that is impactful when you're going to the real world.
We have 50,000 of alumni, which will be very helpful for me. As I finish my studies, I would like to go back to the Philippines and be a social entrepreneur.
For instance, in my year 1 marketing class, we were assigned a project in which we were supposed to work with the companies. This approach helped me to apply what I learned in the class in a practical way.
So what I love about this school is that it gives a lot of possibilities in learning languages. Currently I'm studying German and Chinese, which is really awesome for my future career.
I had the opportunity to join the IBA program with ESSEC and to be given the opportunity to move to Germany, USA and Brazil to complete my academic experience.
One of my favorite things about the school is that they give me a chance to go to multiple campus and study in multiple countries. For example, right now in Global BBA Year 1, I'm studying in Singapore, but maybe in Year 3, I will have an opportunity to go to Cergy in France or Rabat in Morocco, which I think is very great because I can build my cross-cultural perspective.
Apart from these languages, I'm already fluent in French, English, Ukrainian and Russian. So at the end of my studies, I'll have a sufficient level in 6 different languages.
What I really love about it is the ability and the flexibility to create our own clubs and associations, and I'm really pleased to be a part of the student life here at ESSEC.
Terima kasih ESSEC.
谢谢 ESSEC.
Maraming salamat, ESSEC.
Gracias, ESSEC.
Dhanyawad, ESSEC.
Cảm ơn ESSEC. ESSEC là điều tuyệt vời nhất trong năm 2018 của kỳ.
Allez, bravo.
I'm very happy to launch the Finance Lab today. It's going to be a very important place for our students to learn finance, to practice finance, and to learn by doing, in collaboration with our professors, the researchers, but also with practitioners. And it's not only a matter of doing finance, but it's also a matter of analyzing data and drawing conclusions to have a positive impact.
So on the teaching side, students can come here to learn how to download and use financial data. That will enable them to be more proficient and ready once they start the job in the field. And for researchers, it's a great resource for researchers and PhD students that can come and do their analysis here using the huge amount of data that is available.
Bloomberg terminal is like the industry standard, so I think that's a very important. Up to now we had one terminal, now we're going to have 12, so we can actually the whole class. We can make really lots of the finance classes interactive. So it's really the next generation in terms of pedagogy, but not only for pedagogy, also in terms of research. In our own research, we are using these terminals to download historical data on which we can run later on analysis. It really makes the class real.
Hello, so I am Shri Agarwal and I come from India. I'm 19 years old and I'm an international student at Global BBA and I'm in the first year. So I chose ESSEC for the simple reason that it is the best in France, that's the first thing. And why I chose ESSEC was to integrate myself into an international environment. For example, in my class I have people representing 25 nationalities, which is immense for me. They give me an exposure and they give me an insight into different cultures, and I learn a lot apart from my academic curriculum. Me coming from a single country and having an glimpse of all the countries give me a greater advantage of how I should talk to people, how I should understand things. It gives me a holistic view of the whole world. The best thing that ESSEC offers is the internships. I believe that ESSEC is the only school that provides us with an opportunity to do internships in the first year for 3 months. It's basically like finding your own job. So after 4 years, when we are actually a graduate, we won't have problems finding a job because we have already been through that process. And another thing is that ESSEC is the only school who provides us with an opportunity to form a startup while we are in the school under the guidance of our amazing faculty. That's amazing for me. It would be amazing, inspiring, and awesome.
Hello, welcome back to the virtual open days of the Global BBA, Finance, Visa and Health Insurance. How does it work at ESSEC? We are going to see that with you, Evelyn Liken. Hi. Thanks a lot to be there with us. You are the head of Registrar Office. We were just talking about admission. What happens just after the admissions once you receive the admission letter?
Yes. So once the students receive the wonderful offer of the admission at ESSEC, he's got 10 days to think about it. And usually, if he's really willing to join us, it doesn't take him so long. So he has to secure his seat. It's like receiving a wonderful marriage offer, right? Mm-hmm. You have to say yes or you have to say no. And in order to say yes, meaning that you've got to secure your seat, you have to pay for a deposit. And that deposit is going to be 5,500 euros so that you secure your seat at ESSEC. And this deposit will be included in your future tuition fees.
Okay. And then what happens? You have to begin, I think, the visa process.
Yes, you have many things to start. Because once you have secured the admission offer, it means that you really want to enroll at ESSEC, which means that we at the registrar, we are going to see the admitted students. Therefore, he's going to start the enrollment. We are going to take over at the registrar. And let's say 2 weeks afterwards, the registrar is going to send an email. Now you can start your enrollment. Okay? So let's say that this is the earliest session in December. Of course, the school will start only the following end of August. So the student can start his enrollment and he can also start his visa application. Okay? So in order to do that, there are many steps to follow. First of all, in most countries in the world, there are so-called centers for studies in France, in which there is a so-called Campus France procedure. There are approximately 35 countries in the world in which there is a Campus France procedure. So you just log on Campus France, let's say India being a country where there is a Campus France procedure. You create your account. You choose the path, I am already admitted, which is the case, because there are two paths. One, I don't know yet, have no admission. And the second one, I'm already admitted. This is the one that the student has to choose because it's a quick one. And then the student is going to create his account, upload his different documents so that Campus France has time to review his documents. And this can be done in December, even though the appointment at the consulate is going to take place, let's say, in July. You see? Because the visa will be issued maximum 2 weeks prior to the beginning of the classes.
And what kind of visa are they eligible to in France?
The only visa that the students must apply for is a long-stay student visa. Because the students we are talking to, they are full-time, degree-seeking students. So this is the only visa they must apply for. No tourist visa, no internship visa, no au pair student visa, nothing like this. The long-stay student visa.
If you don't have the Campus France procedure in your country, how does it work?
You log on to the consulate, the French consulate, the nearest one, Because, for instance, in big countries, there are different consulates, and you follow the procedure. Then you have to upload your documents directly to their platform, and then you are going to receive an appointment, and then you proceed with the consulate directly.
And you just said there is 2 paths on Campus France. Is it possible to begin before being admitted at ESSEC? For instance, if you're taking the last session, no, you can tell the second path.
No. Wait until you get your admission.
Okay.
Right?
Because sometimes people want to...
No, because otherwise you are going to be considered like any candidate in the world. You know, it's going to take you a long time. Okay. Well, if you already have your admission letter, then it's a quick access.
So then you receive, you just said it, 2 weeks maximum before the date you enter the country. And
excuse me. You may receive, let's say that you are quite early. You may have your appointment at the consulate in June, for instance, before, you know, the big workload, because, you know, consulate during the summer are quite busy. You may receive your visa in June, but you have to be very careful, because you have to look at the date, the starting date of your visa. You see, it happened before. If the starting date of your visa is the 25th of August, you must not travel the 24th of August. You have to look at your visa.
Or you will stay one day at the airport
exactly.
Alone
yes.
and lost. So you have the visa, you enter the territory, then you have something called the residence permit to obtain. What is it exactly?
You get a visa. It's a so-called VLS-TS visa. It stands for the French wording Visa long séjour valant titre de séjour. Once you are in France, with our assistance at the registrar, you are going to convert this visa into a residence permit. It's done online, and we help students do that. And online, it means that you can type the date of your arrival in France, and therefore the Ministry of the Interior will identify you. You change. The ministry that issues the visas are the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Once you are on the French territory, you have to be identified by the Ministry of the Interior, you see, for the security of the territory and so on and so forth. So you do that, and you have an attestation which you print, and you have to keep it inside your passport, so that in case you are controlled by the police, you can show that you've got the proper visa and you've done the needful to be identified, and you have your residence permit.
And this residence permits, you have to renew it each year?
Yes. For instance, the BBA, it's a 4-year program. So it means that the students will arrive at the end of August 2021. Upon his arrival, he will convert his visa into the residence permit. But getting the attestation doesn't change the expiry date of the visa that was affixed in the passport. So let's say that the expiry date is the 24th of August 2022. In May, now it's 3 months prior to the expiry date, with our assistance again, he will have to renew online. This is brand new. It just started 2 days ago. Online, on the platform, the formality to have a renewal of his residence permit. Okay? And then the ministry is going to review his profile, his documents, and then the ministry, actually the prefecture, which is the representative body of the Ministry of the Interior, is going to issue a residence permit, this time in the form of a laminated card, like a credit card. You know, this is very small, and it's a laminated card, plastic card, and this you can keep in your wallet.
You can send us your questions about the visa process, about the fees and the different helps you can get. We are going to talk about it in a few seconds, and also about health insurance. Maybe the last question about visa. Once you are accepted at ESSEC Business School, is it automatic that you get a visa, or sometimes is it possible for students to have some struggles, and how to prevent themselves against their struggles?
You have to prepare your document in advance. For instance, a very important document that people have to prepare is the extract of birth certificate. In some countries, it takes a long time. For instance, in India, you were born in a remote village, and now you are in Delhi. You have to write to that remote village, to the city hall, to get the extract of your birth certificate. Plus, because the French authorities are going to request this document at some point, make sure that you get a certified translation of that document. Yes, it's very important. Plus, there is another issue. At the BBA, we have quite a large number of minor students who are under 18. So we know that in advance because, of course, we have their date of birth. So we prepare for these minor students a special letter saying that the dean of the BBA is going to be their legal guardian. For that, we at the registrar, we will need the information of the parents. The father's name, date of birth, place of birth, ID number, and yes, ID number. And the same for the mother. So we are going to prepare a whole letter, and we are going to send by email this letter to our students so that they have this document handy. Because sometimes they don't know. And they end up being at the consulate, and the consulate say, look, something is missing. And then you have to go back with it.
They have to be really, really careful. And maybe a tip that you give a lot is that it's important to be helped by the parents during the procedure. Like
yes.
Not trying to do everything alone.
Yes, because this is the first time for them.
Let's now talk about finance with a really important question. How much does it cost to study here at ESSEC?
So we are going to talk about the fees applied for this current year, 2020-2021, because the fees are going to be voted, next month only. So for this current year, the 4 years, I'm talking globally, the 4 years cost 57,400.
Total package.
A total package. It includes the tuition fees, the student dues, including the student associations, ESSEC alumni due, preventative medical services, everything.
And are there some scholarships for international students to help them with the fees?
The international students at the BBA, they are awarded scholarships only upon admission.
Okay.
It's the admission committee that attributes excellence and diversity scholarships. There is no need-based scholarships.
Okay. And they have to ask for it, or is it automatical?
I guess this is something that my colleague from the admissions could have answered before. Of course, some students declared that they wish to apply. It's good for the admissions office to know, but at the end, it's the admissions committee that decides.
Okay. And it's also possible to have to take out a loan. How does it work? As an international student, is it a good idea to take a loan in France?
A non-French students must have a guarantor residing and working and paying tax in France in order to get a loan from one of our bank partners. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay? So the interest rate is very low. It's 0.7%. But not everyone has a guarantor in France, right?
And it can be the dean, like for the letter you told us about.
No, it cannot be. It cannot be. For some banks, actually, in France, the guarantor must be a member of the family living in France. You see, it's very difficult. So our international students usually borrow in their home country.
Okay. So that's the best thing to do if you don't have a guarantor here in French. And some questions about health and insurance. How does it work in France in terms of insurance plan for international students?
Any student, no matter his or her nationality, is entitled to French Social Security health plan, like you and me. Anyone. As long as you are enrolled in a higher education institution, you are entitled to Social Security. And this, to register to French Social Security, the student does it with our assistance.
Okay, so you help them.
During the same session as converting the visa into the residence permit. We do it at the same time, so that it's properly done. But because Social Security takes care of medical expenses only, and the reimbursements are based on Social Security tariffs, which are very basic, students must take out what we call complementary insurance. So the two together, so that
it's mandatory.
Yes. I mean, it's not mandatory because it's part of their private life. Wow. And of course, the school has nothing to do with their private life. But based on our experience, we strongly urge them to take out a complementary insurance. Plus, not only complementary insurance, they must have what we call an international insurance. In addition, you see, there are Social Security, complementary insurance, which we call also mutuelle, plus the international insurance, because the BBA students are going to travel quite a lot. So they must have, in addition to that, international insurance, because they are going to do an internship, an exchange program in a foreign country outside France.
Okay. Maybe we can take the chat questions to continue the discussion. The first one is from Ziad. Can BBA students find part-time work during their studies at ESSEC?
I guess they can, except that their schedule is so dense, unless they sleep only 2 hours a day, I just don't know how they can manage, because they're going to be busy the whole day, you know, especially the first year. So they can have like student job on weekends, you know, but you cannot plan on relying on this student job to pay for your tuition. It's not going to be enough.
Because if you work the weekend, you will have maybe 300 or 400 euros per month.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So, but what is interesting is that with the visa, with the student visa, you're allowed to work, like a part-time job or student job, but you're also allowed to make internship, to do internship.
Yes, yes. Your student visa allows you to work. If an internship with an agreement with the school, you don't need anything. You are authorized to work because this visa entitles you to work up to 964 hours. But if it's like a student job, like a waiter, then the employer, the company, just needs to inform the prefecture that they are going to hire a foreigner.
Okay.
They just need to notify the prefecture, that's all.
And do the students have to be careful, because you just told us there is a maximum hours you can work with the visa. If you have a student job and if you have then an internship, there is a combination of the two of them?
That's right. The prefecture should count the hours. But you see, 964 hours, it's more than 6 months full-time. So it's already quite a long time.
So that's...
for a year. So, you see.
A question from Bob. How long after graduation Global BBA students can stay in France and Europe to find a job?
The BBA, it's not a degree, it's not what we call in France a Master 2, number 2, degree that allows you to stay automatically and work. So they need to find a company that is going to offer them a job, and then they'll do what we call a change of status. Okay? So if they have a job offer, they can, proceed with the change of status. But with the degree they have, because the change of status, it depends on the level of your salary. So they are going to verify if the salary corresponds to the level of your studies and so on and so forth. But with the name of ESSEC, we never had any refusal, because they understand that, with this kind of degree, you're entitled to this kind of job and responsibilities.
So that's not a big deal for
ESSEC
students graduated. Is it necessary to travel with parents in case we are under 18?
No. The students can travel alone. He will have a specific visa, a minor visa, and then he can enter the French territory. The only thing, he will not do the conversion of his visa upon his arrival. He'll do that when he turns 18.
Okay.
You see?
So that's the only difference between
yes.
Students. Question from Alex. Do you have partnerships with health insurances?
Yes, we do. We have partnerships with different insurance companies. If you type, on our website, Office of the Registrar in the FAQ as a keyword insurance, or complementary insurance, you will see different articles, and we have partnerships with these insurance companies.
Yeah,
yes.
It's really interesting to say that. There is a full website with all the information, with like a FAQ where you can type some keywords, and then you will have a lot of articles about that. So
Yes.
if you want to have more information, it's officeoftheregistrar.essec.edu, so that would be interesting to go there. Is the French basic health insurance valid in the rest of EU, for example, for traveling, internship in Germany or Italy?
It's valid, but for medical expenses. You have to understand that, for instance, in Europe, actually, they have what they call the European health insurance card, which you have to ask for 1 month prior to your departure to another European country. But then, for instance, you go to Germany, you pay your doctor, you come back with your bill, and you are going to be reimbursed in France based on the French tariffs. But it's only medical expenses. It does not include repatriation, for instance. This is why I insisted on having an international insurance. Because if you have a serious accident, you want to be repatriated, you don't want to stay in Germany, for instance. Okay? So you need to take out these other insurances to be properly covered.
You can keep on sending us questions if you want. And that was already answered. Maybe there is a question. Yeah. In France, do you know what are the average living costs here in France?
Yes, students tell us you must have a minimum of 1,000 euros per month.
Okay.
To play it safe. Of course, some students have more, of course. Cool. Yes, but that's good for them. But I would say to play it safe, 1,000 euro for France is something that you must have. I mean, to live in a decent manner.
It will cover the
rent.
Clothing.
Yes.
We are going to talk about that just the next interview. The food.
Transportation.
Yes. And maybe some activities, some other activities.
So yes.
It's the feedback from students. Maybe other questions. Yeah, maybe about Singapore. I think the procedure is different for international students regarding the visa and all this kind of...
Yes. In order to obtain the visa, the students going to Singapore are going to be assisted by my colleagues in Singapore. Okay. Because actually over there, it's like in the US, it's the school in Singapore which is going to send them the procedure and the form to obtain the visa to come in Singapore. A very important issue, the health insurance. Over there in Singapore, it's mandatory and it must meet the requirements established by the Singaporean authorities. So over there, it's a very important issue.
We have maybe the last question. How do placements like internships or a year abroad affect your costs or tuition fees? When you told us about the package, it's including when you have internships,
yes,
and when you are studying abroad. Maybe the only way to reduce it is by doing an apprenticeship. We told about that earlier, but it's not a reduction. It's
yes, it's only apprenticeship. First of all, covers. It starts only in year 3 or in year 4 of the Global BBA, right? Sometimes only year 4. Okay, and because students cannot know in advance what they're going to do, let's say in 3 years, I wouldn't count on that first. But the question was about the internship. The tuition fees must be paid, and this is something that I write in the enrollment agreement. Whatever the activity, whether they are in class or doing an internship in a company or doing an exchange program, whether they are in Cergy or in Singapore or anywhere else in the world, whatever the results, whether they get good grades or bad grades, you see, the tuition fees are the same and must be paid at the due date.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Evelyn Likel, for
Thank
having
you.
been with us. And we will come back in a few minutes to talk about housing. See you soon. Welcome back to the virtual open days of the Global BBA, and we are here now to talk about the housing. We have the International Relationship Officer at ESSEC. We are going to explain what is ESSEC in a few seconds. Hi, Salma Bultez.
Hi.
Thanks a lot to be there with us.
Welcome.
We also have Sarah Makul. Hi.
Hello.
You're a student in which year of the BBA?
Third year.
Third year. And we have Radhika Tandon. Hi.
Hello.
And in which year are you?
Third year.
Third year. Okay, perfect. My first question is for you, Salma. What is the ESSEC?
So the ESSEC is the housing association for the students of the ESSEC school. Okay. So mostly it's that. So
and it's ESSEC.
ESSEC.
I didn't have it properly. So
ESSEC.
And what is it concretely? You help students to find housing
so
in different campuses?
Yes, actually we have 4 residences here in Cergy, and we help the student of the ESSEC school to find a housing or accommodation during their study period. Yeah.
Here. And there are here at Cergy some student residences.
Yes, actually we are 4. We have 4 residences, one in the park, one in Linand, one in Cergy-le-Haut, and the other one in the port.
And what are the different types of housing in these residences?
So we have single studios, we have double studios, and we have also shared one, and the couple studios as well.
Okay, so you are both now living here at Cergy?
That's right.
Where do you live?
So I live in the residence in Cergy-le-Haut,
okay.
So the Le Haut de Cergy.
Can you describe a little bit how it is, how it looks like?
Yeah, so I've been living there for 2 years now. This is my 3rd year living there. It's pretty calm actually. There are like 2 buildings which are interconnected, and like you have everything at proximity. So you have the supermarket, you have a tennis court in the residence, and the rooms are pretty big and they're pretty it's pretty clean residence. So I really like it.
And you have a single room? You live alone? Or?
Yeah, I live alone. Yeah.
Okay, but it's possible to have roommates?
Yes, of course, it's possible to have a roommate. So when the person or the student is making his or her housing request, he must provide the name of the roommates, and the other person must do the same. And we will put them, of course, together in the if they are requesting for a double room, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you live, Radhika?
I live at Surgic Residences, so it's right opposite ESSEC as well. Okay. And since I came from Singapore, this is the first time for me in Cergy, so some of my friends suggested I could stay there since it's right opposite, and I didn't have much of a commute between ESSEC and my residence, so I decided to stay there.
And how big is your room?
It is actually quite comfortable, so since I'm the only one staying there, I have a little kitchen for myself, and I have my attached washroom there, and it's a little study table, so it's pretty convenient for me.
And you just said that last year you were in Singapore.
That's right.
How was it for the housing, to find a house, to find a place to live?
So the housing in Singapore is quite different from Cergy, because there you have to look for the houses yourself. And it's not that hard of a process as well, because there are a lot of different websites and a lot of agents that ESSEC puts you in touch with before you actually arrive in Singapore. So you can easily go on those websites and look for different housing. So there are mainly 3 kinds of housing in Singapore. There's an HDB, which is a government housing, which is like a more traditional kind of a housing system. And there's a condominium, which is a more modern version with a lot of facilities like swimming pool, gymnasium, etc. And there's also a student hostel similar to the Cergy concept. However, most of the student hostels have common washrooms as well as common kitchens. So that's something that needs to be kept in mind for accommodations there.
And I think, Salma, that there is somebody from ESSEC working at Singapore to help students?
Yes, actually, the person in charge of the house in Singapore, we met him actually last year, and he was very interested about how we manage the housing here in Cergy, and we have this contact if the student has interest in about. So he explained to us a little bit how it works there, because it's quite different than here. Actually, he's the link. Let's say about he's the link between the students and the agencies, because there is just as agencies who are looking for the housing for the students. So there is no ESSEC hasn't houses or accommodation like here in Cergy.
And what was the price of your apartment at Singapore?
So first, I would like to mention that for my first semester, I lived in a student hostel, which was very close to the ESSEC campus there as well. And that student hostel costed me around 800 Singapore dollars.
Okay.
And later on, I moved in with my brother because he works in Singapore as well. So that was an HDB. And we had to pay 1,400 Singapore dollars for the whole apartment. It was a 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, how much do you pay here at Cergy?
I pay 640 euros.
Okay, and you?
595.
Okay, so that is interesting to have this view. What is the average price of housing at Cergy?
So the prices are between 490 euros for a double studio in Linant, for example, and the higher will be 740, 750 for a single studio in the port residence. This is the average.
How can the students register for the student residences? Is it like something automatic when they're admitted?
So actually, it's very easy. Once you get your ESSEC ID, the B0, and your password, you can go to my ESSEC page. Down page, there is my housing. You click on that. Then after that, you will make your request, actually. So just the student has to follow the steps and make the choice, because there is 3 choices. And of course, there is some questions and informations that we requested to put. So also about the choices. Then after that, there is the payment step. This is the last step. The thing is, the payment is not made directly. I mean, when it's done. No. So once you make your request, we will receive this request. Then after that, we will see regarding the choice, and there is some criteria that we are following. Then after that, we send a suggestion, a housing suggestion for the student. And after receiving this email, there is 5 days to think about. So if he want to accept or decline the offer. After that, after 5 days, the payment is made.
And is it possible to find a private accommodation at Cergy?
Private, like regardless ESSEC?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe yes, there is some private accommodation here. The thing is, most of them they request a guarantor, and sometimes it's not easy for the international students to get a guarantor. So that's the thing. And also the prices, I think, so as it is private, so the person is in charge who decide about the prices.
And what about the idea of living in Paris? Is it possible as well, or is it a little bit complicated?
It will depend. So I don't know. It's a little bit far, actually. Paris will be a little bit hard. I mean, to take the train early in the morning, and sometimes the courses are late also in the day. So it's mostly like 1 hour by train.
Okay.
So it's more comfortable to live in the campus, or not that far.
But Sarah, it's possible to visit Paris. I imagine that.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I have family in Paris, and I can visit them either in the week when I don't have a lot of classes, or either in the weekend, because it's far to come here each day to classes and to go back, because it's an hour, as you said. But if you want, you can go to Paris like once a week, for example. To Paris, it's really easy to just have dinner and come back, but it's not easy to come back to follow the courses each day.
Radhika, how do you find France? Is it similar to the idea you had before coming here and studying at Sergi?
So, in fact, when I was in Singapore, a lot of my friends told me that, okay, you're going to have a tough time adjusting in France since you don't know French that well as well. But when I came here, I feel it's quite easy because people are willing to help you, especially the students, the student community at ESSEC. They are so willing to take you around Paris and show you around. In fact, even before I arrived, my friends volunteered to take me grocery shopping and set up my room, etc. So it's really friendly so far. It's been great for me. And I'm sure it's easy if you're willing to, you know, go on an adventure and look around and ask your friends for help as well when you need it. So it's pretty easy and convenient.
And did you already have the opportunity to visit a little bit France, or you stayed just in Paris?
So I visited France before this trip as well, just for the holiday sake. So I went to south of France and I really loved it. It's so pretty. And even now, I don't miss a single opportunity to go to Paris for every weekend because I have friends there whose house I stay over at. So I keep going back and forth.
What is your favorite place in Paris?
In Paris, so far, it's Montmartre, I would say. It's so pretty. I love the lighting and the whole area. It's super good.
It's typical.
Yes.
And do you have a favorite place?
I'd say Montmartre as well. Yeah, I love it.
But that's a little bit of sport to go there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Little mountain. Is it possible to visit the rooms, Salma?
So physically, no, for security reason actually, but there is virtual visit. So you go to the My House, and so on the ESSEC page, and you click on each residence if you are interested about visiting first all the residences, and especially if there is a specific residence, and there is pictures and also the virtual visit with all the details actually.
And in France, there are some helps for the housing, like APL. Is it eligible for international students? Or?
Yes, of course. So all students are allowed, or they can make the request for the housing subsidies with the CAF. The CAF is a governmental help for the housing for students. So we have a person in charge. We have in our team, in the ESSEC team, a person in charge of CAF. So we are also the link between the student and the CAF. So because sometimes it's quite long and difficult to be the student himself or herself directly to the CAF. So better to come to us to get just a file. It's really easy. We explain everything, or on the portal, or directly we explain how to make the request and all that. So they give us the file and we give it to the CAF.
Do you have the APL, Sarah?
Yeah, I do. I applied for it. So you have to apply for it each year to renew it, if you live in the same residence.
Okay.
So I applied for it this year and I got it, yeah.
And how much is it?
Actually, the first year they gave me 200 euros. Okay. So on my 595, sorry.
Okay.
This year they gave me 230, which was pretty great.
Yeah, that's good. That's a little bonus. Do you also have the APL?
So I applied for the CAF since I'm here just for 2 weeks right now. I'm just in the initial steps of applying, and I'm still waiting for a response from them.
But then, even if she has the response like in 2 or 3 weeks, they will pay for the time she already spent in France.
They cumulate actually. So because as you know, when they get the files, because they got a lot of files, and the time to treat the files, of course they will cumulate. The most important that they see when the housing contract starts. So this is the most important, and after that they accumulate everything.
And how does it work if you have a little problem in your room? Do you help students with the maintenance of the rooms?
Yes, of course. Actually, in each residence, we have the technician who is living with his family in each residence. In Cergy-le-Haut, Le Port, Linonde, and the Park as well. So it's easy as well because everything happened on the portal. So the student has just to go and make a new request, technical intervention. Actually, there is a list of everything. So it's really fast, and we try to do that. We are doing that daily, and the technician will come to the room and fix the thing or the issue requested. by the student.
For instance, if you forget your keys inside an apartment, you don't have to pay like 1,000
No,
euro to reopen.
no. The things, for example, for that, if it's during the week and the technician is present, of course he will open the door for the student. And also we are connected with the security as well. This is really important. So, for example, if a student at night or during the weekend lost the keys, he will just call the security office. A security agent will come and open the door for him or her.
So that's really securized. And what are the different facilities inside the residencies? For instance, is there like swimming pools or sport club?
So actually, we have. So will depend to the residence because, for example, Cergy-le-Haut is one of the biggest one. So it's a big one. So there is the boutique. There is also study rooms, laundry. What else? So if I didn't forget something, sports center as well, tennis court, as you mentioned before.
There are 2 gyms as well.
Printer. In all residences, there is a printer, and with the printer, they use it with the student card, actually. Some snack machine, and the coffee and tea machines.
And what about the noise? Because students like to party. I assume there are some rules to help the community.
So yes, actually, when they have the ESSEC rules and the regulation in their portal, it's mentioned because we know they are young students and they want to meet and make parties. But of course, there is a timing that they have to respect. So if sometimes it might happen that they don't. So the security office, as I mentioned, they are here for that. If someone calls the security agent will come till the residence and try to make it calm and just stop the party, let's say that. But actually, there is a timing to respect, of course.
And if you want to change of residence, is it possible?
Yes, of course. Also, it happened on the portal. So you go to the portal and make your request if you want to change to another kind of room or another residence. Of course, it's possible by making a request.
Okay, so the portal is like the...
Yes, it's really, the link between us, it's really easy because they can make a request, they can request for technical issues as well, as I mentioned, they can pay also their rent over there, finding all the documents like the housing certificate there, and mostly everything. Also, if they want to, for example, a student want to extend the stay, of course they can do that also in the portal.
Let's take now the chat questions. You can keep on asking your questions about housing here at Cergy or in Singapore. The first question is, how far is the school to the accommodations?
So will depend to which residence. So if it's the park, it's mostly like 10 or no. Let's say 5 minutes, it's really behind the ESSEC school. So the port is like 10 or 15 minutes. Linand, it's, let's say, 20 minutes, or you can take the bus. But Cergy-le-Haut is quite far. There is two train stations.
Okay.
It's Cergy-le-Haut, Cergy-Saint-Christophe, and Cergy-Préfecture. So two by RER.
Another question, does Asia Pacific Campus have accommodation?
So this is what we mentioned before. Actually, there is a person in charge of the housing. So this person is the link between the students and the agencies over there.
Another question, how are the flats allocated? Do international students have priority?
Yes, there is criteria actually that we are respecting. First is the minors, scholarships, internationals, then the provinciaux, so coming from the countryside, and francilien, then Parisian. So yes, you have the priority to get a housing with the ESSEC, but not the priority to get a specific residence.
When do I get to apply for the housing?
Will depend to the program. So if, for example, for next year, we will open it by the end of this year, mostly on April, May. It will be open for the next year.
Maybe it's a question you can answer. Do we need to open a bank account in Singapore?
Yes, it would be advisable to open one. For example, I opened a DBS bank account. So it's a zero balance bank account, so it's quite easy and convenient. And there are DBS banks account all around Singapore, including one very close by to ESSEC. So it's quite easy. And there's a specific ESSEC department who can help you out with all the documents required, etc. So it's advisable for one.
And in France, is it an obligation to have a French bank account, or is it possible to keep the same bank account?
So actually, yes, especially if the student want to request for the CAF, it's mandatory to have a bank account, a French bank account.
But there is some partnerships with...
Yes, it's really easy for the students actually. It's really easy. It takes like a week or maximum 10 days and it's open, so it's easy.
If I choose a double studio, do I get to know about the person who I'm going to share my room with before starting the program?
If the person if the person doesn't mention a person, so I mean, they choose a double. So actually, we don't communicate the ID or for the other residents. So this is only for security reason. We prefer to not give the identification. The ID of the other roommates.
And do they have each one a room, or is it a shared room?
Yes, actually, when you enter in the apartment, there is the kitchen, the bathroom, and two private bedrooms actually with each door. So the private, I mean the key is different, and the roommates cannot enter to the other room. So it's really private, and the room is quite big actually also.
And is there kitchens in each apartment, or is there sometimes like a shared kitchen in the buildings?
So the only one with a shared kitchen is the Park Residence. So the Park Residence is really dedicated for the first year BBA and Grande École, pre-master. So the idea is really sharing the experience and living together. That's the thing. So they are sharing. It's like a big apartment. That's what we call UV, Unité de Vie. So it's a big apartment of 140 or 150 meters square. And there is like, let's say, between 5 and 6 rooms, big rooms as well. And what is in common is the big kitchen, living room, toilets, and showers. It's really like a big flat. So the thing is, as they are young, so it's for them to push them to get an experience for living together, making their own meals together, and really sharing everything. And we put them by program. This is very important. BBA together, Grande École together, also to study together, and this is the thing, to get this à l'ESSEC experience.
And is there people cleaning the common spaces in the apartment, or do they have to do it themselves?
So it will depend. So there is some part that we let the resident clean their own things. And there is, of course, one person who is in charge. She is in charge, actually, Maria. She is in charge of cleaning the common area as well.
Do you offer housing for one semester exchange students? I think coming from abroad and being at ESSEC for one semester.
So this is what is specific with the ESSEC, because the minimum stay with us is 3 months.
Okay.
So of course you can come here to stay for 3 or 4 or 6 months, and of course we are doing that.
Are the parents allowed to enter the residence or stay there?
Yes, we allowed visits, but not spending the night. I mean, sleeping there. because there is only one bed for one person. So that is why. But of course the parents can come, or friends as well, they can come and visit the student, of course.
Will some people come to your room every day to make sure that you have already back to the accommodation?
Actually not, because we will not check. They are mostly in a private area. We cannot just come all the time and check. Only, of course, if a parent request us to go and check. Of course, we have to get this authorization from the parent to check if the person is present. But otherwise, we are not allowed. It's really private area. We cannot go and check all the time. No.
Do you want to stay in the same residence for all your studies, you think?
Yeah, I think I'll stay. I pretty like it because it's really calm and it's really convenient for me, even if it's kind of far. But like I got used to it, so yeah, I guess I'll stay there for.
In the same room?
Yeah, in the
you
same.
like it, like
yeah.
your ESSEC room?
Yeah, I got used to it. Yeah.
Are meals provided in any residence?
No, as there is a kitchen, so now meals are not provided. As I mentioned, there is some machines like snacking machine or beverage machine, but meals are not provided.
And do you have Uber Eats at Sergi?
Yes, you do have Uber Eats, but for my residence, we get breakfast in the morning.
Okay.
So I usually eat the breakfast there, but I cook my lunch and dinner myself because I have the kitchen.
And what about you? Do you cook a lot in the residence?
I don't really cook because I'm not a cooker, but I also have a kitchen, so whenever I want to do something, breakfast, lunch or dinner, I can.
And do you have a lot of restaurants, for instance, next to your place?
In Sergi-le-Haut, yeah, there are some restaurants and they're pretty good, so I actually go to them a lot. But like you can cook, so it's fine. If you can cook, it's totally fine.
Since when do students start paying for accommodation?
Since when?
When do students begin to pay for accommodation?
So for the first month at the arrival, actually, the first month is prorated. So when you arrive, when you get your keys, we start the contract. Okay. So it is not, we are not starting to the payment when the person is not here. So we really wait till the person is present and got the keys, enter the room, then we start the contract. For the first month, is always prorated. Okay. It's payable by the end of the month, and the other months will be at the beginning.
If you have an internship to do, like a 6-month internship, and you're going in the south of France, you can leave the room?
Yes, as I mentioned, the request will be at the portal as well. The student or the resident go to the portal and make a request for an early termination. Mentioning the living date. Actually, there is only 30 days notice that the person has to respect. 30 days notice. That's all.
And if they are staying in the same room, do they have to pay during the summer?
Yes, they will request. This is a different actually contract because the one contract goes till the 31st of July. So if the person want to stay for summer period, the person will make a new request, requesting to stay for summer period, and there is a fees, but it's really a few fees to pay to get another contract actually.
Okay.
For summer period.
Question from Jignesh. In case I'm going for a foreign exchange, do I reapply for housing? Do I have to reapply for housing?
If the resident left the room and, for example, go for 2 or 3 months and wants to come back, of course, the person has to make a new request to get another accommodation.
I think that's it. I'm just looking if we have more questions. No. I think it's okay. Thanks a lot, Salma, Sarah, and Radhika
Most
for your
welcome.
time. And I think it's also the last interview session of the day. Thanks to you for having watched this opening virtual I don't have it, this virtual open day of the Global BBA. You can find more information and start your application for ESSEC Global BBA on essec.edu, and you have then a section Global BBA, and you have to put the Global BBA International button, and then you can begin to apply. Thanks a lot.
Most welcome.
Thanks to you, and see you soon at ESSEC.